Online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
back to another edition of the evolution of Sports Talk Television. It's the Sports Web on a happy day edition. How do we start off this show as we always do here on I Love St. Pete, Amped Up Sports in the Hub? Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense on tonight's show. We'll have my co-host on a little bit later, Mr. Harry the Greek, professional handicapper extraordinaire of 1252 Chicago Sports. We'll have the legend in the building, the eye of the tiger, the fighter himself, former coach, scout, and now media member of Amped Up Sports Night Sports Productions, Mr. Leo Haggerty. And then, of course, the much popular, if you will, controversial, because some people don't like it, but we do it here on the Sports Web, Turnbuckle Talk at 10:20 with former XPW announcer Mark Mancini and, of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Ralph Williams. And as always, your phone call, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. If you can't get in on that number, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Some questions out there that I want you to ponder tonight. We talked about free agency and what the Bucs have done with getting re-signed Levante David, with re-signing Jamel Dean, with getting Greg Gaines in the fold, with getting Chase Edmonds. How do you think the Bucs have done in free agency? Of course, Baker Mayfield. How could I forget that? As another controversial signing, because some people like him, some people don't. What's your grade? CBS thinks they're a C. Pro Football Focus thinks they're a B. Sports Web Nation, what do you think? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. So that's the question for the night. We'll also go into what the talking heads have been saying with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask as a quarterback competition, or lack thereof, to some of these talking heads. So we get into that. And, of course, Mock Draft Wednesday. What are your Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to do? I don't have all the answers, but the draft pundits seem like they do. So we'll go into that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it with the man himself. Let's go out to the legend, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Here we go. Former coach, scout, and now media member of Amped Up Sports Night Sports Productions, Mr. Leo Haggerty. Welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television, my friend. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. I know how Harry loves this close-up shot of me. That's why I had to do it.
Well, guess what? We don't have to deal with Harry tonight and his nonsense because he's not on with us. He'll be on a little bit later. So we shall see what happens after that, as he has some things that he has to attend to. So you know what? The show must go on. And
Absolutely.
You got a legend in the building. Let's start off here, legend, Mr. Leo Haggerty.
Peter, before we get to that.
Yes.
Memo to the New York Jets. You ain't getting Aaron Rodgers for less than a first rounder. To think that the Packers are going to take a second and a conditional third? No.
No.
That's not happening.
That's not.
You want him, it's going to cost you at least a first rounder. So get off that horse, because if you don't get off that horse, Aaron Rodgers is staying in Green Bay.
I'm telling you right now, and I feel like ever since he had that interview on the Pat McAfee show, what was it, last Wednesday, and again, I felt like depression was setting in, not only on his behalf because he was picking the Jets, but me watching that interview, I felt bad. I felt like he should have went back into the darkness and stayed there, because he didn't seem like he was too excited. And already, if a man is thinking retirement, we know that doesn't necessarily always work out. Why do you think that is? When an athlete is thinking about retirement and contemplating it and then finally comes back, is his mind fully in it? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is fully in it? Has he been fully in it the last couple of years? Even though he's won MVPs, it certainly doesn't seem like the Packers think so.
Oh, he's been in it, and everybody makes this mountain out of a molehill that, he doesn't go out and hang with the wide receivers. He doesn't hang with What you see is what you get with Aaron Rodgers. He's a quarterback. He's one of the very best to ever play the game. He still plays at a high level. But once that practice is done, this guy goes his own way. He goes to the beat of a different drummer, and his drummer didn't die a year ago. So he's still there. It's just, I think the Packers can't figure out how to move on from him, kind of like they couldn't figure out how to move on from Brett Favre. And again, that's hard to do. It's easy to move on from somebody who's not a Hall of Famer. Moving on from a Hall of Famer, especially when they think they can still play.
Yeah, well, speaking of teams that have moved on from Hall of Famers, or eventually he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, that would be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And they signed Baker Mayfield. He's introduced to the media. What were your first impressions of him? You talked about it on this show that you felt like there wasn't a quarterback on this roster yet, even though a lot of fans out there would like Kyle Trask to take the job. It certainly seems like it's Baker Mayfield's job to lose. What do you say?
Oh, Peter, absolutely. It's his job to lose. And again, nothing against Kyle Trask. I just want to see him get some game experience this year. And again, Baker Mayfield and about 14, 15, 16 other quarterbacks are going to miss some time. That's just the way of the world right now in the National Football League. So I think that we're going to get the Baker Mayfield that was healthy in Cleveland 2 years ago, or was healthy with the Rams. Again, the guy gutsed it up. He played hurt, and it definitely hurt any stock he had because he did not play well, probably because he couldn't play well. But at least he answered the bell, and that gets you points in that locker room, that's for sure.
What do you see with him on film? Because you're a scout. We talk about it all the time. You've been in front offices. I mean, what do you see with Mr. Mayfield? 2020, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, great year. And then after that, it seems like it's kind of fallen apart, whether it's been change of personnel, injuries, more injuries than anything else. And he's had multiple offensive coordinators. And we know at the end of the day here, Leo, if you have multiple offensive coordinators, it kind of hinders the development of a young quarterback. So talk about Mayfield, what you see as a scout from your scout's eye.
You know what, Peter? What I like about him is he gets the ball out quickly. That's the key. And again, 1, 2, 3, let her rip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, let her rip. Get it out quick, get it out. Let the guys who are paid to catch and run with it, catch and run with it. That's the key. Now, he has to have a running game, which he had in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
That was the key. They had Nick Chubb. I mean, the Bucs would love to have a guy like that, but they need somebody to step up, and they need to get 60 to 90 yards a game on the ground just to keep defenses honest. Because if they're coming full bore like they did last year, I don't care who the offensive lineman is. Somebody's going to get beat one time during a play. You know, you're asking 5 guys to keep them out. That's hard to do.
It really is. And we're on with the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, on the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. I mean, you talk about the running back situation. Rachaad White looks like he's entrenched as the number 1 starter. Is that how you see it? Because you continue to hear rumors that possibly Ezekiel Elliott, Tampa Bay could be a match depending on the money. I mean, where's his value at? Do you buy this? They also pick up Chase Edmonds, who's kind of a change of pace back. You could always draft somebody. You have Keyshawn Vaughn on this roster who you don't know about, but do you buy Zeke and Rachaad White as a combination, even though they just picked up a Chase Edmonds?
I'll tell you what, Peter, I like Zeke Elliott simply because the guy may be the best pass blocking running back in the NFL. I mean, we saw him 3 times in the last 2 years with Tampa Bay just pick up blitzers right and left and never miss a block. That's what you want out of a running back. Yeah, you'd love for him to get 4, 5, 6 yards average a carry. And Peter, what people don't realize, when offensive coordinators design a running play, it's to get 4 yards. Mm-hmm. That's all you want. Anything after 4 yards is gravy, because guess what, Peter? 4 times 3 is 12. First down, move the chains. That's what they're looking for, because the running game, you're not going to get guys that break 50 and 60-yard runs. It's just not going to happen week in and week out. So you got to get that tough yards, those 3, 4, 5 yard per carry. And that's what I like about what Ezekiel brings to the table. He's a pass blocker, but he's also a punishing runner. That's a heck of a changeup from Rashard White, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, could you see Elliott coming here as a part-time starter? Would he buy into that? He seems like, he wants the rock, he wants the pill. But I don't know if he's an every down back, because ever since he's gotten that big-time contract, Leo, his yards per carry have gone down. Furthermore, there's a lot of miles on those tires. So do you think he would be willing and accommodating, if you will, to a Rashard White where he comes in here on a part-time basis where they could share carries?
Peter, I think what's going to happen is Ezekiel Elliott and his agent are going to sit back. They're going to see who makes a bid for him, and he's going to take the team that has the best shot at going to the Super Bowl. Remember, he has no ring. So again, if it's Tampa Bay, then his agent and him have done his due diligence, and they think, hey, this team's got a shot of playing in February.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to. And I'm not sure where the Bucs lie at this point, maybe 8-9 wins. Although you ask Harry, he feels like if Trask starts, then it's going to be 10 wins. If Baker Mayfield starts, it's going to be 13 wins. I mean, that's how optimistic.
Hold on, wait a second.
Yes.
Let me get it beaten. Okay.
Hey, that's Harry the Greek taking up with management. That's my co-host right there. And he's pretty good when it comes to, predicting records and stuff like that. I tell you, somebody else who's pretty good in predicting quarterbacks or projecting quarterbacks, that would be Greg Cosell of NFL Films. He was talking about Kyle Trask, and this is in care of Joe Bucks fan. He says he's a pocket quarterback. He doesn't move particularly well. He doesn't have a big arm, but his arm is okay. But he does have a big arm, and it does but he does not have a big arm. He does not have a gun. So what do you think? Greg Cosell talking about Trask. Can he start for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with not having the mobility? I mean, talk about quarterbacks, just drop back guys, because it seems like right now the trend is to go with the mobile quarterback, and say whatever you want to, but Baker seems like he has a lot more mobility than Trask, and also Brady. He even said he's not Brady, but he has a lot more mobility. So do you think Trask can work in this league with limited mobility and not necessarily the biggest arm?
Yeah. Again, I got 2 words: Brad Johnson.
Okay.
Not the strongest arm in the world, but you know what?
Right.
Brad, he had a great line. If you check down, you never go broke. And that makes a lot of sense. You go back, you go through your first progression, second progression, then hit the check down. That's what Kyle Trask has to do. He needs to just get some game experience, find out what it's like when the bullets are flying for real, and then let's see what happens. Again, you got to see what he gets in game. I tell you what, I'd rather be the Tampa Bay Bucks starting Baker Mayfield than the Green Bay Packers if Rodgers leaves and you got to start Jordan Love, who I don't think is ready either.
Well, and I mean, the Packers, and this is what I continue to go back to, and people say, well, you're wrong about this, but I really feel like I'm not wrong with Trask and Brady. I get it. You want to bring back Brady last year. You're going to go all in. But if Trask is your guy, per se, the future, then you turn the page on a Tom Brady. You turn the page on a Blaine Gabbert, and instead you have a third-string quarterback that only has 9 snaps in the league. If he is your guy of the future, you turn the page and throw him in there. And I talked to Harry about this the other night. I'm going to ask you, do you know of another quarterback besides maybe Aaron Rodgers that has sat for the last 2 years and hasn't started? Because the trend around the league seems like quarterbacks get thrown right into the fire.
You know what, Peter? I'm going to go back to when I first started scouting with our lad scouting service and Tom Hepler. I met Carmen Perone, rest his soul.
Okay.
He was the lead scout for the New Orleans Saints. I sat down and I said, Carmen, what do I need to know about the draft? He said, your first round pick has to start. Then he said, again, this is 30 years ago, though, if it's a quarterback, you can sit him because the position is unbelievably exponentially faster than the college game.
Okay.
He said second and third round picks, you're looking for a contributor and you're looking for a guy who's going to help you on special, like a third down wide receiver and nickel corner and all that. After the second, third round, everything's for depth. You're trying to replace guys with higher contracts with guys you can pay less money to so you can keep those veterans. And again, that makes logical sense. I can't believe everybody talks about now, well, they didn't get anything with the fifth round pick. You're not going to get anything with the fifth round. If you're getting starters in the fifth and sixth round, you're pretty bad. So get with the program.
That's why it's amazing to me that you trade a Brandon Cooks, and we'll go back to the Bucs in a moment. But Brandon Cooks like a fifth or sixth rounder for the Dallas Cowboys, and he's been one of the most moved wide receivers. Let's go back to that draft. And Greg Allman tweeted this out. Mike Evans on that list, and you're talking about Odell Beckham, Cooks, other wide receivers. They have moved around, but Evans has played for one team. And I tell you right now, at the time, I got a source that told me that the Bucs were in on Johnny Manziel, that they were really interested in him. They wanted to draft him. I wasn't sure about Mike Evans. In fact, I thought it was going to be Manziel. Thank God it wasn't, because Evans has absolutely worked out. I mean, how amazing is that for Jason Light's first draft to still have a Mike Evans, 9 consecutive 1,000-yard receiving seasons with the multitude, your word, of quarterbacks.
You know what, Peter? Sometimes when you look at a player, his best trait is his availability. The fact that Mike Evans has 9 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons means he's suiting up pretty much every Sunday. He may miss 1 or 2 weeks, but 14, 15 weeks out of the year in the playoffs, he's there. What I would really like to see happen, though, once a quarter, the Bucs go deep to him just to send that message that, okay, Evans can go deep. We'll throw it there. Just go there once a quarter, 4 times a game, because I'll tell you what, 1 or 2 times you'll probably hit that play.
All right, let me go out to Chris Sims here on Pro Football Talk. Former Tampa Bay Buccaneer quarterback who didn't necessarily work out, was a third-round pick out of Texas. He says, when it comes to the day-to-day battle on the practice field, Trask can't go toe-to-toe with Mayfield. He also characterized the signing of Mayfield as a bargain price, as the steal of the century, and dropped a bunch of other cliches tied to how the Bucs found the perfect fit for the post-Tom Brady situation. He also added that Mayfield showed last season he still has the tools of a standout quarterback, including an awesome arm. Your thoughts on those comments?
Ditto. The guy comes with a pretty good resume. Again, Peter, throw out that last part of Cleveland when he was playing hurt and Carolina was such a dumpster fire until they got that fixed around. When he went to the Rams, we saw the real Baker Mayfield, when he had an offensive coordinator, an offense that suited his system. And again, we got a guy coming in from Seattle as the offensive coordinator who turned Geno Smith's career around because get it out quick, get it to the guys who can make plays. I think that's what you're going to see with the Bucs. You're going to see a plethora of Chris Godwin short passes. You're going to see a lot of stuff to Evans intermediate or deep. And now run the football, shorten the game. That's the big thing. They can't afford to throw it 40, 50 times or 60 times like they did last year. That's a recipe for disaster, Peter.
Yeah, no way I can see that, especially with all the changes in the offensive line. Although I think this offensive line addition by subtraction is going to be a lot better off without a Donovan Smith. And
you know what, Peter? This is an offensive line that is run oriented. When you look across center guard and tackle, these guys are road graders. They want to run the ball.
Yeah.
Hopefully the Bucs will see that. They're not the best pass protectors. Now Tristan Wirfs can do anything he wants to.
Sure.
But the rest of them, they want to go straight ahead. And that's what the Bucs need to do. I think they need to be 60-40 run, maybe even 65-35 run, just to slow down that defensive line and to keep their defense off the field.
What do you see with Chris Godwin? I mean, we talked about the injury last year. He still had over 100 receptions, over 1,000 receiving yards. Do you think he gets better this year with getting over that injury? Because it seems like it's not the first year, it's usually the second year. So could you see Chris Godwin getting better? And then furthermore, this offense benefiting from that?
Well, again, Peter, we got a new offensive coordinator. We're going to have a new left tackle. It should, because Chris Godwin played hurt last year and still had over 100 catches. So again, he gets a whole off season, not just to rehab, but to mentally go, hey, I made it through. That's the key. And again, Peter, we had the chance to talk to James Franklin when Penn State came down. He said,
wow,
nothing but praise for Chris Godwin. He said, you know what Chris Godwin's number was before Brady showed up?
12.
And you know what Chris Godwin did? He didn't wait for Brady to ask him. When Brady walked in, he gave him the jersey. And again, James Franklin said, that's a smart guy. And you know what? He is a very smart guy. He is a very character person. And we're starting to see the Bucks get those character persons now. That's kind of what they need.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And a lot of people will be critical of Jason Light, but you look back at the drafts. I mean, Evans and Godwin, you start there. And for me, that's good enough, because you never get a chance to draft a wide receiver that's as talented and then off the field so great with the community. They're two true professionals. Say that 3 times, on and off the field. And that's very rare with talented wide receivers, because as we know, because the Bucs have dealt with them before, and Antonio Brown and Keyshawn Johnson, guys like that, they're usually divas. So hats off to Jason Light, once again, getting 2 guys in the draft and other draft picks. He's had his fair share of bust. And, to Harry's point, he feels like, and I think there's a lot of people who feel the same way, that if Kyle Trask doesn't start this year and doesn't at least get a shot to start, that it's a black eye on Jason Light. Where do you like?
No, Peter. It's like baseball. 3 strikes and you're out. If he's not playing year 4, and again, I'll go back to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers sat for 3 years.
Correct.
And he's a pretty good quarterback, I think.
Yes, pretty good.
Yeah. And you know what, Peter? When you look at the Bucks and Jason Light, yeah, he drafted a kicker and all that. But you know what? Vita Vea and Tristan Wirtz, that trumps everything he's done bad. Because think about that. You got a guy who's going to play nose at, 360 pounds, runs like a 4.7?
Right.
Something stupid like that.
Crazy.
You got Tristan Wirtz that could probably play left tackle and right tackle maybe at the same time. But he is about as athletic a tackle as you can get. Peter, have you ever seen the video of him jumping out of the pool?
That's amazing. I mean, it really is. I mean, and when you see this young man, and I can't believe he lasted until 13, where the Bucs actually had to trade up.
He was the 4th tackle pick that year.
Right. I mean, this is the 2020 year. This is a rookie coming in. I'm still amazed by this. A rookie coming in. No pressure, by the way, because you got to be the right side protector of Tom Brady. So if you screw up, you could screw up the whole season. Comes in, and it's just like he's been there for 10 years. It's amazing. Yeah. I don't know, and you've been a scout on this. Why did Tristan Wirfs, why was he the 4th ranked tackle in your opinion? How could scouts overlook such size and ability and agility and the film at the end of the day? I mean, there were no blemishes. I don't know why he lasted that long. Thank God he did.
One, Peter, they didn't think he was big enough. And that's crazy. When he jumped out of that pool, I checked explosion. I checked athleticism. I checked every box I could find. And the biggest knack against Tristan Wirtz was he wasn't 350 pounds. But you know what? What people didn't realize, he was a wrestler. And you know what wrestlers do? They know how to use their hands.
Sure they do.
Tristan Wirtz allowed 1 sack in the first game against New Orleans and not another one the entire year.
Yeah, I mean,
as a rookie.
Yes, as a rookie.
And I'll tell you what, I can remember asking him a question. What did Brady tell you when you got in the huddle? Don't let him come fast. Don't let him come inside.
Love it. Good stuff. All right. Much has been made about Todd Bowles here being on the hot seat. In fact, Charles Davis, CBS game broadcast analyst and formerly of the NFL Network, told Sirius XM NFL Radio, by the way, Mayfield's got something to prove, and I don't think we're saying anything out of school. Todd Bowles he's got to have something to prove this year as well, like right out of the gate. Okay, I mean, it's just going to have to happen, and maybe the two of them collaborating can get that done. Do you feel like this is the main reason why this organization and why Todd Bowles? Because we offered Jason Light. He really liked Kyle Trask. He wants to give him a chance. They're comfortable. They've said this the last couple of years. They're comfortable, but it certainly seems like the coach wasn't necessarily comfortable because when he talked about it, he said, oh, no. He has an opportunity to be the number one by competing for the job, but they're not giving it to him. So do you feel like this is a move at the end of the day to protect Todd Bowles' job? Because they feel like there's going to be more wins with the Baker Mayfield than a Kyle Trask.
Peter, I think when they decided to cut ties with Donovan Smith, that's when they figured, okay, we need a veteran quarterback. We can't put Kyle Trask back there with a brand new left tackle. Yeah, if it's Tristan Wirfs, fine, but it's still a brand new left tackle. You don't want that. So, again, once that shoe dropped, I truly believe the Bucs felt, okay, we need that veteran presence at quarterback. And again, Peter, I don't think they got a bad deal. They got a guy who will play hurt, is going to stand in the pocket. He's going to take a beating if he has to throw the football. And that's what they need, because they couldn't throw the ball long because Brady couldn't stand in the pocket long enough.
Right. Well, Giselle didn't. She had comments today about it. She was saying, and I don't know if you read this or not, but she wasn't the fault or the reason. She gave him no ultimatum at all about quitting football. That's the reason they didn't get a divorce because of that. And she also threw the offensive line underneath the bus. We'll talk about that a little bit later, saying it's a team game. One player can't do it all. But again, yeah, you can talk about the offensive line, but when he had a clean pocket, he also wasn't completing those passes consistently. So she needs to turn on the tape maybe a little bit herself. Now, with that being said, everybody doesn't feel so great, if you will, about Baker Mayfield. In fact, Peter King, and this is in care of Joe Bucks fan, did a great job on this. King said Mayfield has had 4 teams in 15 months, including Tampa Bay, is too big of a red flag for King to ignore. He says this screams a 1-year Scotch tape job. Your thoughts on those comments? 1-year Scotch tape job for Mayfield to Tampa.
If he ends up 12-5, give me the tape. I'll tape it for you.
Love it.
Again, Peter, how many downs has Peter King lined up on the football field?
That's true. I respect Peter King because he's a great writer like yourself there. He's been in the business for a long time, but he has been wrong before about certain years.
Hey, we're always wrong. Hey, Peter, you want to know what my biggest wrong was? I thought Ryan Leaf would be a better quarterback than Peyton Manning.
Why did you think that?
I watched him at Washington State, and believe me, the kid could play.
Mm-hmm.
But then when San Diego drafted him, what they should have done is assigned him somebody, a butler, a driver, whatever. You got a young single guy in San Diego, and they should have just said, okay, we're going to put a guy with you just so you get to know the NFL. I think San Diego missed the boat on that one. And then when he broke his hand, a friend of mine was a scout with the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
He said, he's done. They can't repair that broken hand. So that's pretty much what it was.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, and injuries are always going to be a factor when it comes to the National Football League because it means not for long. I know you're on a pitch count here, so we're going to get you off in just a moment. But give me your overall grade. Tell you what, Matt.
For the left-hander.
Yep, hold on, Matt. We'll get to you in a moment and want to get out to Leo. I know Matt from Oklahoma wants to gush about Baker Mayfield because he has been screaming at the top of the rooftops to go after Baker Mayfield. So the Bucs finally did that. your overall opinion or grade, if you will, for this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team in free agency. Jamel Dean, Levante David, Baker Mayfield, Chase Edmonds, Greg Gaines. What do you give them? CBS Sportsline says C-, and Pro Football Focus says B. Where do you lie on this free agency?
I give him a B+, Peter, because what people don't realize, you had all that dead money with Tom Brady. What? The fact that they were able to move contracts around and to get players re-signed and to bring in free agents, I give him a B+.
Okay.
It's just being able to do that because, Peter, let's be honest, a month ago, they're in cap hell. They are in cap hell, and it doesn't look like there's a way out. Jason Light and his team figured out, okay, let's talk to this guy, see if he will renegotiate and go from there.
Good stuff, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of Amped Up Sports, 9 Sports Productions. Really quick, one question. What is USF doing? They interview Mike Bray, but they don't offer him the job, and now Bray is looking like he's going to retire or consider TV opportunities. Why wouldn't USF offer him the job? Of course, talking about basketball, in this case, men's basketball.
Peter, maybe Bray didn't want the job. And again, the hardest thing USF has right now, when you bring in a recruit for football or basketball, and you bring in a football recruit and there's 10,000 people in a 67,000 seat arena, and you bring in a recruit for basketball and there's 2,000 people in a 12,000 seat arena, that kid's not coming. So that's the scary part. You can't get that to happen. But they just got to figure out. And again, Peter, I used to always say, if you win, they will come. Well, you know what? Willie Taggart won, Charlie Strong won, and they didn't come. So I had no idea what's going on. But they got to start putting 50,000 in that stadium. And they got to figure out how to do it. I don't care if you got to bus kids from campus in there, because you can't play Division I football with 10,000 people. That's just not going to happen. But I was surprised when at first it came out that Mike Bray got the job. Then it came back that no, he didn't, which I was surprised because, Notre Dame to USF, that didn't make sense to me.
Why not Rick Pitino? Because it's been rumored that possibly he could be interested. You have the boosters there. It seems like it's an attractive job. It's Tampa, Florida. It's beautiful. You got no taxes. Come on, Rick Pitino. I get it. He's had some off-the-court stuff. A little shady there. But why not USF and Rick Pitino?
Not over St. John's. That's not going to happen.
Right.
Hey, it's a New York guy. And there's nothing wrong with being a New York guy, because now you're coaching a New York team in the Big East. Peter, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I got to toot my own horn one time.
Toot it.
I went on ESPN Radio New Orleans with Gus Cattingill Friday. I predicted FAU to beat Purdue.
Well, I tell you right now, let me go ahead and give you the horn. Because that's the legend. That's the reason why we got the legend on the evolution of Sports Talk Television. Thanks a lot for your time, my friend. We'll see you soon, all right?
Always good to talk to you, Peter. Hey, make sure you apply for that Frozen 4 credential so we can do some stuff out there.
Sounds good, my friend. We'll do.
Take care, buddy.
All right, there you go. The legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, former coach, scout, and now media member of 9 Sports Productions, Amped Up Sports. Now it's your turn. Now you can call in. I know I asked for phone calls, but I tried to devote all that time to a guest. We have him on a pitch count. He'll take some questions. I'll take the questions from you. There you go. Look at this. You jerk is calling in. What do you want, you jerk? Matt Colson, welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. I know you have to be happy about Baker Mayfield coming to Tampa. Go ahead, share your thoughts, my friend.
I'm going to surprise you, I think.
Huh?
I watched his. Let me get this on radio.
Yeah, get it on there.
I watched his press conference today.
Okay, and
what he had a day or two ago.
Correct. What were your thoughts?
He didn't sound like, when somebody gets drafted, like Vita Vea got drafted, right? And they bring him in there at press conference. He's all smiles. Oh yeah, I want to do this. I'm going to tear up the world. Blah blah blah.
Sure.
All that pipe coming out, and Baker the one thing stuck out in my head is the reporters started to put their toe in the water on the wrong with your psyche if you've been to 4 different teams in two years.
Sure.
And how is that going to affect you? And I know Baker Mayfield 10 years ago or whenever he was at Oklahoma, 5 years ago.
So it seems like 10 years ago. So we've been talking about this on this show at nauseum, and you were the guy telling me we need Baker Mayfield over Jameis Winston.
But I don't know that he. Right. Here's the thing. I don't think he's bought into it, and I'm wondering. Half of me is saying he took Tampa because nobody else rang his doorbell, and I think he's got to get past that. And then they tried to compare him to Brady. You know, Brady took the kids across the street to the other field so they could practice when they weren't supposed to.
Sure.
They were leaning in on that. Are you going to do anything with your offense? Are you going to work with the offensive line off season and the wide receivers to get used to Godwin and Evans? And it's like the guy just stepped off the bus and you're slamming him. Let him have a chance to get in here and figure out which door is the bathroom, for Christ's sake. And then
right.
I mean, really,
I agree.
He hasn't had a chance.
Well,
and then I'm concerned that is not going to mesh well. The reporters to the Baker, because Baker's a smart ass. And you remember when he ran up and down the sideline talking to Kansas and grabbing his crotch, and everybody's saying, "Well, that's going to cause GMs to not draft him. That's a crazy man."
Right.
That was Baker. That's who you got. That's the guy who threw the flag in the middle of the other team's 50-yard line. And that's what I like about him. He doesn't take a lot of crap from people. And if he's got the right tools and I've said this in text a lot, if he's got the right people working with him that know his mentality and know that he's a high maintenance guy and keep his valve down a little bit, that's what Stoops was able to do when he was over here. He would lose his mind like that. And they'd get pulled over off camera and they'd tell him straighten up, get your head out of your butt. And he'd go out there and, throw 2 more touchdowns and hang a 50. So I'm looking forward to him if he's still got the skills. I'm just concerned that he didn't look like he was that happy to be here.
I think he seems humble. I think he's happy. I think he's happy with the opportunity, but he's humbled by the whole deal with, going from Cleveland and being passed over for Deshaun Watson to go to Carolina and struggle, go 1-5. And then he goes to the Rams and he has 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I mean, this is a number 1 overall pick. I still think he has confidence, but I think he's more humble now. He's more focused. People, the media were kind of trying to, bait him or get him to say something, and he didn't buy into it. He didn't bite.
No,
he just said
he didn't.
Right.
He would shut them down.
Correct.
Very well,
and that's okay. That's all right, because I get the media's trying to do their job and get a soundbite and write a story, because I've been there. I've done that before. But also, it's the player's job, not to
shut it off.
Right. Not to put yourself in the situation where it becomes big news. Because if he says something at the first press conference and people are like, "Oh, well, there you go again, Baker Mayfield. He's a diva." He did the right thing by coming out and saying in so many words, "Look, I'm not Tom Brady." And guys, there's nobody out there that's Tom Brady. That's why Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. So he did the right thing. And if anybody's thinking he's going to be Tom Brady, he's not. He's going to be a different cat. But at the end of the day, the reason why the Bucs pick him up is because he is a number 1 overall pick in 2018, because he can make all the throws and because he has done it in the league, unlike a Kyle Trask.
Well, see, and I was happy to hear Leo talking about Baker, about the fact that he sold out. He had his best year in football, and then the next year he broke his shoulder or whatever he did to his shoulder in the one arm, and he kept playing, and then he got tackled on the arm he was landing on purpose to try to protect himself, and they broke that one.
Sure.
And so he played a third of the year with 2 bad shoulders, a quarterback with 2 bad shoulders. How do you do that? And then they come up to the end of that, and they're like, "Well, we don't like Baker. He's a child." Or one of those teams said he was childish. Well, if I went out there and risked my multi-million-dollar career to show that I'm loyal to this club that's only been to the playoffs in the last 30 years because I got you there.
I agree.
Then you need to show me a little bit more loyalty. And I don't have a problem with the person having that opinion or feels that that's the way things should go, because he did do that. And then they treated him like crap every stop that he's had. I don't think Carolina even gave a damn whether he did well or not. They weren't going to keep him long. And when he got to LA, he had a coach down there that knew what kind of a fruitcake he was. They are very similar personalities, the coach and Baker, in the way that they look at the game. But he also saw that the guy is smart enough, and he could pick up a playbook in 14 hours and go win.
Yeah, I mean 2 days. You pick it up in 2 days, and he's talking about it in this press conference. The first guy he saw there was Greg Gaines, and of course now he's the new defensive tackle from the Rams. Of course, he's familiar with Vita Vea because they both played at Washington, and of course JTS. So that could be a sneaky move. But Gaines was saying, "Oh, we're going to really have Baker start," and Baker fires back, and he'll say, "Well, we'll see. We'll see if I know the playbook." And he was able. Albeit, the Raiders, not a great defense, but 2 days in, you go out there and you do what he did for the Rams. And I get it. There's nothing. Put on a clinic. There's nothing on the line, but besides your job and your job security and possibly, auditioning for the next NFL team.
Imagine if he'd have come out in that game and, really stunk up the joint. We wouldn't be having this conversation.
Of course not.
What he looks like in Tampa.
Of course
he
not.
would be done.
Yeah,
He'd be like Cam Newton, just disappeared, and now he's over at some department store trying on women's underwear.
Well, just stop now. And don't be a jerk now. You're being a jerk. Right. But also, Cam Newton was out there today at Auburn's Pro Day saying that he's better than 32 other quarterbacks, and he very well may be better than some of those quarterbacks. Now,
then he needs to reconsider his position in life.
I think Cam has seen his best days. I think he's done. I thought it was really interesting that he was throwing at a pro day, but
Terrell Owens is doing the same thing.
Well,
Terrell Owens is 20 years out of the league.
Owens is what now? 60 in dog years? I mean, he needs to just hang it up. I mean, he might be athletic, but there comes a time and a place where you need to retire and
you don't heal.
Right.
He can come off a bench at the beginning of the year and do real well, but after 2 games, he can't lift his arms anymore.
Right.
That's what would end up happening.
Exactly.
But no, I'm stoked about Baker Mayfield getting here.
How many wins? Wins or losses for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right now? Now, I'm not holding you to this because you can always change your mind here on the Sports Web. I'll ask you again. But how many wins and losses? Now, I will put this out there. Harry the Greek has said 13.
I think he's crazy.
Okay. How many wins? How many wins and losses?
I'd be reaching on a 10.
Okay.
And I think this is what the Buck fans need to remember. We are rebuilding, whether they want to say it or not. I don't know what they're calling it.
Do you think they're rebuilding? Do you really think they're rebuilding, Matt?
Well, I do.
Because why do you think they're rebuilding?
Your key to the whole offense is the quarterback. You got a brand new quarterback. We're still trying to make a line out in front of him.
Okay.
And we got rid of the left tackle that had the one-on-one, the yellow flags.
Who was awful last year. What's so bad about that? I think that's retooling, not rebuilding, right?
Retooling if you can get somebody comparable. I don't know.
Well, how about Tristan? How about Tristan Wirfs?
I don't know if he can play the opposite side. That's you're closer to that than I am able to be. You wouldn't believe the sports section in the Oklahoman. It's about 2 pages long, and most of it's ads for the baseball minor league team.
Jeez.
So we don't get much until the season starts, and then it's whoever's hot gets the hot press. The rest of them get forgotten. So, but I think 10 would be good. I think 9 is probably more like it to me. 9 wins.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is you're going to get half of your conference games or division games. You should get half of them. And then we're going to have to pull 5 out somewhere else, maybe split a couple with New Orleans. But I still think Carolina is a bust, so we should be able to get past them. The Falcons, I haven't heard a word about. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing. And when they basically said we're not in on Lamar Jackson, guess what I thought? Desmond Ritter. That's who you're taking. Okay, go for it. Go for it. Arthur Smith and Arthur Blank and whoever authors there. They may be all fired here eventually besides the owner in itself. But Desmond Ritter, I mean, okay, I guess you drafted him last year. You got to give him a chance. But damn, Lamar Jackson, 26 years old. I don't get it. That was the other rumor that was put out this week. The representatives, and this is according to Mike Florio, Pro Football Talk, that he's ready to separate from the Baltimore Ravens. And I don't blame him because they should have paid him before they paid Roquan Smith. They paid $100 million to Roquan Smith for a guy that's been there for 2 seconds. Right. A guy's been there 2 seconds. Hello, I'm your franchise quarterback. Pay me the money. I've, blood, sweat, and tears for your team. I'm supposedly supposed to be the guy. And then you're going to pay somebody that comes off the street for 2 seconds. Makes no sense to me, and that's the reason why I think he's divorcing the Ravens along with everything else. Really quick, I got to get you out of here. You can use that second call if you want to, Matt. Give me a letter grade on what the Bucs have done in free agency. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to give him a B as it sits right now.
Okay.
If Baker doesn't come out of the hot, if he starts to fail and fumble, then it's my fault because I've been on him for so long.
That's you have.
And I'll have to take the L if that's the case. And if they do, then the B becomes a D minus or so, because they did all this work to get freed up money, and then you're wasting you're gonna hate me saying this. You wasted a second rounder on a guy who doesn't start, can't start, won't play, whatever, doesn't dress for one season, and then the next big thing you do to save yourself after post Brady, you bring in Baker Mayfield. If he comes out to be good, everybody will be happy, and the fan Facebook pages will all change their tone a little bit. But if he comes out like everybody wants him to, they all want him to fail.
Sure.
And that's the kind of stuff that he takes him to. He says, "Oh, really?
Matt,
watch this."
There are Bucs fans out there right now that are watching this program saying, please let the Bucs win 1 to 3 games. And it's like, guys, have you just become Bucs fans? You want to go through the dark ages again? You want to go through 2 and 15? It's not 2 and 14. It's 2 and 15. You want to go through that mess again? You think the Glazers or Jason Light or Todd Bowles want to go through that to get Caleb Williams, which he may be the most talented quarterback next year in the draft, but there is nothing guaranteed, Matt. You know all too well. I don't understand it. I get it, but then again, I don't understand it. Continue to win at all cost.
At all costs.
Yes.
And build and don't expect too much and then get mad about it.
Right.
That's the thing. If you're in a rebuild, retool, whatever, that means you're in the middle of the road between a very good team and a bad team.
Right.
You're somewhere in the middle patching up the dike, right?
That's it.
So expect that you're going to get 8, 9 wins, maybe 10, maybe Harry said last year the Bengals weren't going to show up for anything. What happened there? So that's the only thing I got to say about that.
That's a very good point, and you'll definitely have to deal with him when he comes on the line again, and we'll get him on soon. Matt, thanks a lot, you jerk. You did good.
Oh, yeah.
All right, use that second call if you want to, my friend. All right, welcome back.
All right, have a good night.
All right, good stuff. Matt Colson from Oklahoma. Love that guy. We go back and forth, we debate, but that's what we do here on the Sports Web. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Again, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. It's the Sports Web. I'm your host, Peter Blake, giving you something to think about. Let's go back out to these comments here. Troy says he's first. Okay, you're first. Good.
Flawless victory.
And then I'll just do this.
This guy sucks.
I'm just getting you ready because I know you're going to troll me tonight. That's what you do there, Troy Polamalu. I appreciate it as always tuning in. Hey, guys, let's go. Absolutely, let's go. Let's go! Christopher Cole. Roger Sue says first.
Acknowledge me.
Roger Sue's I'm the moderator, so I'm automatically first. Laugh out loud. Not so fast, my friend.
This guy sucks.
You were wrong that time. Troy was first, but you are the moderator here, the tribal troll out there in Holiday. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Trask. Amen. Can we please stay off religion tonight? Let's not talk about religion. Let's not equate that. I don't care about your Trask cult, you Traskites out there. Let's go out to Roger Shoe Bears 2023 NFC North champs. All right, I'll tell you what. Seeing as you're the moderator, I wanted to read this story. We'll get out more. We'll talk with you about the Bucs, but this came out from Peter King today. Chicago Bears general manager Ryan Poles on trading away the number 1 overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. And he said, I thought there was an opportunity to do something historically pretty cool with the trade from 1 to 2 or 2 to 9. Now, where did you hear that from? Because we've been kind of talking about this and expounding on it, if I can talk tonight, about this possibility of the Bears going from number 1 to number 2, picking up a plethora of picks, Leo Word, possibly a first-round pick this year and next year, and then going down to 9. Well, that's not what Poles was thinking about. In fact, he said there was an opportunity to do something historically pretty cool with the trade from 1 to 2 or 2 to 9. That had potentially add more draft capital this year. And then the possibility that you're sitting on 3 1s in the following year, that had my attention. He said, but my gut, hopefully it wasn't gas for all you Bears fans out there, gassing you guys up about Justin Fields and this team. I will say this, watch a lot of Chicago Bears football because of Harry the Greek the last couple of years and Travis Faley of Rocket Sports and Entertainment. I'm very impressed. And they lost a lot of close games last year. They're going to be very dangerous with that quarterback. Again, he goes on to say, my gut told me to trigger on it now. At the combine, I thought those quarterbacks did an outstanding job in their interview process. And a lot of teams felt really good about some of those guys. But as you get further away from the combine, maybe there's a bad pro day or something that turns teams off. You're exactly right. What happens? I mean, the draft and the pro days, they're more emphasized these days and also tape than the combine. I get it. A lot of people are attracted to the combine, 40 time and everything like that. But those pro days can also go wrong. And we saw with Jalen Carter not being in shape for his pro day, how it may drop his stock. That is the talk because of a bad pro day, because of a bad combine, but he's making a point here because of a bad pro day. Now, Albert Breer of a Monday morning column for Sports Illustrated also kind of said the same thing here. He speculates that Poles' closeness to Panthers general manager Scott Fittner allowed him to get better read on him than Texans general manager Nick Caserio. Poles cited the trust Fittner had him, and also he wanted to get it done. It was clear with his intentions. The uncertainty around the Texans and Caserio led Poles to pull the trigger with a good deal in hand versus trying to get greedy and waiting to see if the Texans would engage further. The thing was, instead of being greedy and trying to do all kinds of fancy things, I felt like when we hit a certain point, I was satisfied. He also says that this was a long process, lots of twists and turns, but we got it done. I think both teams got what they wanted out of the deal, and we both continue to get better. You know what? To add capital this year in the draft as well as future and set ourselves up with 2 number ones in 24, I couldn't be happier about that. And then on top of it, once again, they get a number 1 wide receiver in DJ Moore. And I always talk about this. The NFL is an emulation league, right? You talk about development of Jalen Hurts. What do? You go out and get A.J. Brown. You talk about the development of Josh Allen. What do? You go out there and get Stephon Diggs. This is what they're trying to do with Justin Fields. They're developing him. They're going out there and doing everything they can to help their quarterback out. Because why? He is their franchise quarterback. You get him a number 1 wide receiver. You build an offensive line. And you build a running game. You take the pressure off of Justin Fields, and that's what Poles is trying to do. All right. So the question for the night, what do you guys think of what the Bucs have done in free agency? 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Again, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. What is your letter grade for what the Bucs have done in free agency? And I get it. You can come on the program and say, we don't know yet. But for me, it's an A+. Jason Light and this organization have knocked it out of the park. Nobody thought they were going to re-sign Jamel Dean, who's still a top young corner in this league on the free agency market. And nobody thought they were going to re-sign a little Devontae David. Let's go out to the phone lines. Mr. Tristan, welcome to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. What do you have to say, my friend?
No, what's going on, Peter? How you doing this evening?
Man, I'm loving. You know what? I'm going to steal a line from my former co-host, rest in peace, Sean, the Sports Don. I'm loving life because I get a chance to talk to you, my friend. What's up with you?
Well, I'll never say you wrong for doing that.
There you go. It's a Wednesday night. We're talking Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're talking draft, and we're talking free agency. So I got to start out with this because I asked you the question. I'm going to ask you again on this show if you changed your mind. What do you think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in their free agency grade so far?
I got to go with a C-, man.
Okay,
like,
give it to me.
Everything so far that Light has done is a retread.
Okay.
And the problem starting to lie with this whole Trask situation. Like, it's like another wasted draft pick in Kyle Trask, right? Like, if you bring in a Baker Mayfield is like a Cam Newton. If he doesn't start, the rumblings and grumblings as soon as Trask makes a mistake is let's see what Baker can do. And I'm telling you, if Trask, I believe Trask will be given the job. They'll say that he beat Baker out just to see what he has. And if he goes out the first game and say he has anything less than a 75% pass percentage, anything less than 3 touchdowns, everybody, the grumbling is going to start. I'm a Tampa fan, been in Tampa my whole life.
Sure.
Like, I know how the fans are. And everybody will be clamoring for Baker Mayfield. Baker comes in and Baker does the exact same thing that Trask does. It's not aligning.
It's like Groundhog Day. You know, the most popular guy at the end of the day is the backup quarterback. So Baker starts and people are going to be asking for Trask, not only because he's the backup, because he got a lot of Gator fans out there, a lot of Gator homers. And I get it, he's a second round pick, but do you think that Baker wins the job outright, or do you think Trask has an opportunity to compete for this job? And do you have confidence in him?
Well, I think Trask, on paper, Trask was a stud, like height, weight combo. Like, I mean, what was Trask, 6'4"?
Yeah, 6'3", 6'4", about 244. I mean, he's getting bigger. You hear every day that he's working hard, and Todd Bowles talked about it, and Jason Lights talked about it, how they're comfortable with him. Not the best arm. You go back to what Greg Cosell said, not a big arm, but an okay arm. He's not mobile in the pocket. I mean, do you need a mobile quarterback these days, Tristan?
It depends on the scheme, on the type of offense in which you like to run. Like, I Chase Edmonds 2 or 3 years ago, perfect. Now, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that could either be another boom or bust pick. But if Chase Edmonds is successful, that means the other guys in Vaughn and White back there, you basically just put those guys on the shelf. So it's like, if you root for Chase Edmonds to be anything, it's like you're kind of knocking the other two guys.
So you're not buying Ezekiel Elliott here either, huh?
No. I think Ezekiel Elliott is going to end up playing in Kansas City, to be honest with you.
Wow. I mean, if he plays in Kansas City with that, and they could get DeAndre Hopkins. There's been a lot of talk about that. Those trade rumors revving up there. Arizona's trying to get a second-round pick. I'm not sure if anybody's going to give up a second-round pick. I don't know why. He's up there in age. I think he's definitely worth it. But if nobody's giving up a second-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins, they're going to take a third or a fourth. That guy could still play. And if he goes to Kansas City with Ezekiel Elliott, going to be tough to beat them once again with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Just saying.
Well, here's the thing about it, though. Something I've always wanted to say, by the way. According to my sources,
you like that?
What it is the contract situation with DeAndre Hopkins. I think that's the only thing that's holding him back. I believe he's up on the book between 18 and 23 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. You're absolutely correct. And they're going to have to do something about that contract in order for another team to take him. And that should be, and that's where I'm at with Arizona. Look, if you're going to pay the majority of this contract, then you can give me a lesser pick. But if Arizona is going to make some type of concession where they're paying the majority of the contract, then I'm definitely asking for a second-round pick. That's how I look at it.
Correct. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Just with Arizona, I think they find themselves in it's kind of like the Aaron Rodgers situation. Like,
sure.
Okay, we know you need to make a move because the player doesn't want to play there.
Yeah.
So it's like it basically becomes a game of chicken over who's going to offer the most. I probably don't foresee the Hopkins pendulum to swing that way until OBJ actually gets signed first. And then that'll kind of free up the whole wide receiver market.
It should be the other way because Hopkins is more proven, even though he missed games last year. Here's a guy who, an OBJ, and the rumor is, again, it's rumor. This is speculation season. $15 to $20 million for a guy who hasn't played in 2 years? I'm not giving him that money. And DeAndre Hopkins, that should be where the market starts. I understand where you're coming from. There's also been rumors about Hopkins going to New England, which would make all kinds of sense because they did lose Jacoby Myers, although they did sign TikTok boy Juju Smith-Schuster, who, by the way, has still made more TikTok videos than touchdowns, even though he is a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, I agree. But the bone of New England swore, well, since Brady has left, it looks like that they're going to go with a run heavy attack. So I look forward to them. Two things in which I'll probably be willing to bet that they draft early in the draft. I would probably say in the third round they go running back. It is a tight end heavy draft, so I do see them taking a tight end in the first 2 rounds.
How do you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers win total this year? We talked about here. He says 13 wins with Baker. He says 10 with Trask. Are you that optimistic?
Not at all. Just to be realistic, I say 7 and 10, 8 and 9.
Okay.
Just because, again, something in which I observed, I've never seen a team where the highest paid position group is wide receiver and they make a splash. And then you have so much uncertainty at quarterback. It's kind of like Voltron, so to speak, right? You got a guy trying to control he has Voltron at his disposal, but the guy can't even play a PlayStation. So I mean, it's a tough walk, and just depending on who the trigger man is, it complicates the whole wide receiver room. Like we have no doubt Godwin's a stud, Evans is a stud, and then Gage is a stud as well.
Right.
But if you got a trigger man with a water pistol for an arm, that'll start to do the thing. And then also what I fear is if Baker Mayfield tries to talk to Mike Evans, like I've seen him talk to some receivers, I don't think Evans is going to go for that. In fact, I know he won't.
No, he won't go for that, but I hope you don't have an OBJ situation. I think OBJ, as talented as he is, he's still living off that one catch. He's more difficult for me than Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a consummate professional, although, it comes down to, is Baker going to be able to get him the ball? Because if that starts to happen and you don't have that chemistry, then anything's on the table. But I see Mike. He's done it before with Mike Glennon. He's done it with Josh McCown. He's had other receivers or other quarterbacks there throw him the ball. He's able to get 1,000 yards with those quarterbacks. Jameis Winston, of course, and Ryan Fitzpatrick. I still think he'll be able to do it if they're getting him the ball. Mike Evans is a consummate professional. But you're exactly right. I think that's what a lot of fans are concerned about with Baker's past is, this diva mentality. Is he going to show that? What happens if he doesn't win the job? Like you said, the backup quarterback, the most important or the fan favorite out there. If he doesn't win and Kyle Trask trips up, if Trask wins the job, it's certainly a possibility. How will he react to that? There's a lot of questions about this team. So 7 and 10, 8 wins. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that right now. And what do you see them doing in the draft? What do you think the biggest need is at 19 in April?
Well, it's 2 ways in which we should go. I think Light needs to stop jumping between both sides of the ball and draft even on both sides and go, 3 picks defense, 4 picks offense. I think my preference would be that we just go ahead. We hope for the best, pray for the worst, but also start projecting long term and draft and see if we can possibly catch. I know it's a big tackle draft as well. So I would probably say see if we can get a left tackle or a combo guard, tackle combo guard thing. And we need to start to address special teams in order to steal games. Like we lose a lot of the games in which we've lost. We really don't have that third dimension to the game where special teams is actually something we can depend on or they can change the tide.
Right.
So I would like to see Light take a flyer with possibly one of those 4-2 guys that's projected late. See if we can possibly get some kick return, punt return production from them. We got to address corners. Basically, we need everything probably except linebacker and wide receiver.
Yeah, and you can even say linebacker at the end of the day, depending on, what you have in the back of Devin White and, of course, Levante David. I'm trying to think of the kid right now, and I can't think of his name. They seem like they're high on him, but he looked lost in the sauce versus Dallas on that play at the goal line. So I don't know. Yeah. There's future there. You're exactly right. I could definitely see this team trading down. I think this would be the perfect spot, especially if there's a Hendon Hooker there. A lot of Bucs fans want them to draft a quarterback. I could see a team possibly in the second round that will give you a first round next year where they could trade to 19 and then Bucks could accumulate some picks there at the end of the day. Tristan, anything else?
Yeah, I mean that would be in a perfect world, but like we kind of need bodies, right? And we definitely need to address the pass rush.
Sure.
Like I get the love for Vita Vea and so forth like that, but unlike the other DTs of his caliber in the league, as far as supposed to be the premier tackle,
sure,
Vita Vea doesn't seem to make anybody around him better. Like we go back to Sapp, everybody who lined up next to Sapp, they got 10 sacks. If you want to go for a nose tackle, just a pure nose tackle in the 3-4 defense, you can look at the Vince Wilfork, the guys that are similar builds, Alan Payne, the guys that are similar builds to Vea. These guys are getting guys around them better. And any time in which you have a nose tackle or a power pig lead your team in sacks, it goes down to the wrong way. Truthfully, this is I'm gonna throw something out there, but you can call it a zinger, whatever. I would try to maximize the value, and I would try to trade Godwin is to the first thing smoking out there.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen because of his cap hit, and on top of it, it doesn't make any sense, especially if you're going with the vet quarterback in Baker or a young quarterback in Trask to trade one of your biggest weapons. And I understand where you're coming from on that, and you could definitely probably get some draft capital, most likely a first-round pick. I just don't see that happening. Good stuff, Tristan. Definitely thanks a lot for tuning in and calling in on the Sports Web, and use that second call, my friend, all right?
All right, cool thing, Peter.
All right, man. Appreciate you. Good stuff. Open phone line, 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. Again, 727-409-7528. Again, 409-7528 as we're live here on I Love St. Pete, Amped Up Sports, and The Hub. So all these platforms out there, I tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Welcome to the Sports Web.
What's up, Peter? This is Kevin.
What's up, Kevin? How you doing? What's on your mind today?
I'm doing all right.
Okay, let me ask you this really quick before we get into it. Your grade, your letter grade for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in free agency at this point. Go.
I gave them a B.
Okay, and why?
Because with the additions that they did pick up, they brought back Levante, they brought back Jamel Dean, who was supposedly going to be gone from the team, which is great to have him back. And we do have two solid corners. The call that really got me was just the last caller. Listen to him kind of spew about the defense is not all this and, pricking on certain players. It's like, he has to understand it's scheme-wise. And the way Todd Bowles schemes, this is not no Tampa 2 defense anymore.
Correct.
This is what Todd Bowles is called.
You're exactly right. And I think he's a little bit unfair with Vita Vea because you will look at Vea's impact, especially in that postseason. Right. That defense was different. What he's looking at is players around him. JTS, he hasn't developed fully, doesn't know how to finish it. He needs to work on that. And losing Shaq Barrett, that's not a good thing. So basically, Kevin, what you're looking at, what I'm looking at, and I don't know what Tristan's looking at, he can call back if he wants to and debate this, but you're triple teaming Vea because you basically have nobody on the outside to get after the quarterback. So I think it's a little bit unfair at this juncture, in my opinion.
Right. And Vita Vea wasn't drafted to be the next Warren Sapp. And I get tired of hearing Bucs fans saying, Levante was going to be the next Brooks or Vita Vea is the next Sapp. No, let these players be their own selves and let them play to their strengths on the team.
Absolutely.
And that's what Vea, we signed a guy that was playing for the Rams who played at Washington with Vita Vea and JTS. So I think that guy Gaines will actually be an addition to the defensive line that we needed depth for. And I think also with JTS, yes, definitely he needs someone to either hammer it to him to finish the play, or they need to make sure in the draft they draft those guys of need, either like defensive end, especially other linebackers, because you can't just depend on Levante and Devin White the whole season, all 17 games. They're going to have to be able to balance that way on the interior line. That's something that scheme-wise that they need to really focus on. And I hope Jason Light really looks into that. And also, we need depth at corner. We do got guys coming back with, Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis, Zion McCollum, and others, but we still need, depth guys, pieces that's going to fit around there. So that was my thing. And then him talking about Trask, it's starting to irk my nerves. Like, people, you got to understand, Kyle Trask was the backup to Felipe Franks, who's not even a quarterback now in the league. He's a wide receiver for the Falcons.
He's a tight end.
He's
a tight end at this point. You're exactly right. And if he doesn't dislocate his ankle, you never hear from Kyle Trask. I'm going to be fair about this. I like the kid, but I'm worried because I've seen this team before with development of young quarterbacks. And for me, the biggest red flag, and Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong about this, and kind of a red flag to you, he's not able to overcome a Blaine Gabbert. And I get it. There's Blaine Gabbert's a Brady guy. I don't care if you bring him as a second-round pick and he's not able to overcome a veteran quarterback who's all considered, 13-34 his record. He's a first-round bust at this juncture, and he's not able to beat him out the job. I have concerns.
Right. He's been in the league like 11-plus years, and Gabbert's just always going to be a career backup. That's what he's designated to in this day and age. Hell, look at Cooper Rush for the Cowboys. When that got hurt, Cooper Rush was a no-name guy coming from maybe, I think, the XFL, and he started those games, and he won, and the team rallied around him. And that was something that I did. And I'm looking at Trask. I'm like, okay, Trask, you're the third string. You have not beat Gabbert to overcome the backup job at least. What is your problem in this system? And someone was mentioning, because I read some reports saying that he's either a slow learner to the offense or he just hasn't progressed enough in range. And I think that's why the Bucs got Baker, because they kind of looked at all the options. I think that's where these callers sort of failed to realize we were negative $60 million in the cap. Brady took at least 50% of that by himself.
Correct.
Everything else was just players that was, due to either be re-signed or restructured, or we just don't re-sign. So with them getting Baker, I think it's going to help, because now that he's gone on his fourth team, he done seen himself progress and said, you know what? I just need to just play with a scheme that's going to fit what my strengths are. And I think with Dave Canales, I think it's primarily we're going to be heavy on the run. And I don't know what that caller was talking about with White and Vaughn, and you got Chase Edmonds you just signed. White is your starter. He's going to be your RB1, and you're going to mix in between Vaughn and Edmonds. And I could see Rashad White becoming a fantasy star, in the diamond in the rough. If you guys continue to, press on him and watch him progress, he's kind of one of those patient runners. And I think with his team, it's going to be a run-heavy offense. And I think that's why this draft, I think the Bucs are really going to try to push on making sure the offensive line is strong enough to be able to open those holes and those gaps. And I think with, our two blocking, tight ends, they're going to really work the scheme to make this offense flow as a running game, and then have it built to make the pass, as a weapon.
Well, I tell you right now, Kevin,
started, not looking at.
Kevin, I tell you right now, you're talking to Rashard when he got drafted last year, because I got an opportunity to talk to him on the Zoom, and I asked him that question about Coach Herman Edwards, comparing him to Marcus Allen, and I said, "What do you think about that?" And he said, "I don't have any problem with it. That's his opinion. I think more of Le'Veon Bell," and you're exactly right. Patient runner.
I said this. I said the same thing with Le'Veon Bell, because funny enough, we had Le'Veon Bell, and Rashad White reminds me of him.
Well,
because of his
you had the Le'Veon Bell that was washed up. You had the LaShawn McCoy that was washed up. And that's the problem. You get these running backs, and basically they have all these miles in your tires, but you're exactly right. And I think that's what they want to focus on at the end of the day. That's the reason why you bring in a Canales, because you're from that Seattle-based offense, which is 4.8 yards per carry. They want to be a balanced team. Furthermore, you have Todd Bowles as a defensive-minded coach. He wants to be more balanced. You don't want to throw the ball 60 times a game. It's not going to win more times than not. And we've seen that with this Bucs offense and how they've struggled. So definitely Rashard White. Are you buying Ezekiel Elliott? Do you buy him? Would you buy him? Do you think he comes in here as somebody that would take a secondary role and excel for this team, or you're not buying that?
I'm on the fence with Zeke. I could say Zeke's prime is way past him, and he's been overpaid for the last 4 seasons. I could just say if he does decide to take a secondary role, I will welcome it. But I want him to be a mentor, because the Bucs running back coach used to be the coach for the Cowboys.
There you go.
So
Skip Pete.
I can relate to it. And it's all about relationships. And I think with Canales and Skip Pete, they may try to really focus on what Seattle did, and making a run-heavy offense with the guys that they had over there in Seattle. You saw some guys like Kenneth Walker become a stud in fantasy, and he actually, he averaged a good 3 to 5 yards a carry, and the guy was very, very solid. And I was impressed with him when I watched him in the game in Germany. So I just really think that these fans need to calm down and stop annoying Trask as a starter. Let him earn the job. If he earns
Thank
the
you.
job,
Can you say
I
that
have no
again?
problem
Can you
with
say it again for me? And I'll just quote Jim Carrey: "Let the truth set you free." Go ahead and say it again, Kevin.
These fans need to realize, let Kyle Trask earn the job.
Thank
you.
you.
Have to earn it. It's not going to be given to you.
There
Just
you
because
go.
you're a second-round pick, you got it. Look at Jalen Hurts. He's a second-round pick. He had to earn it. He beat out, Carson Wentz, who was off injured, and they just said, you know what? Availability is the best ability. And Hurts, sat in the quarterback room, learned his craft, and, they just said, look, let's go on a limb. Let's see what Jalen brings to the table. And guess what? He got into the Super Bowl this past season. And it's second year as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
They got to give the guy his due. He's very, very talented, and he's very methodical, and he's a smart quarterback. So, I got to say, I will give Trask his chance. But if he doesn't win it, don't sit here and cry about, well, he didn't get a fair shot. No, he has to earn the job at the end of the day, in my book.
Good stuff. Killing it, Kevin. Thanks a lot for the call. I'll tell you what, go ahead and give me a win-loss total here with Baker Mayfield at the starting controls. What are you looking at? Harry says 13 with Baker, 10 with Trask. Where do you lie on this?
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I can see them being 9-8 or 10-7, depending on the way the schedule is. Because guess what? We're getting a first place schedule because we won the division. So it's not going to be easy. But like I said, at least with Mayfield, I see that he can throw the football down the field, and he's a little bit more aggressive, something that Brady was. And I think that's why I think with this system, they're going to tell Baker, we don't need you to go out there and throw 30 plus passes a game. Balance it. Let the guys run the ball, push it down the field, and then take your shots. And at least the good thing is he can throw the ball down the field with ease.
Great stuff, Kevin. Let me go ahead and give you the horns.
All right.
Use that second call. Don't be a stranger on the evolution,
yes,
my friend. All right. Good stuff there by Kevin. Absolutely killing it. That's what I love. Conversation about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Conversation about the National Football League. What do you think the record's going to be? Doesn't matter if you're wrong or not, because we're going to revisit the question. Trust me, I like to play games. You want to play my game? You're going to have to play my game if you're going to be on this show. He says 10-7. Tristan says a little bit less. We heard about Harry. We heard from Leo about it. That can change with the draft. That can change with the later periods of June 1st after free agency, where there's possibly some veterans. That maybe where the Bucs get their cap situation cleaned up even more. We're going to go out to the comments in a moment, but want to put this out there. Greg Auman of Fox Sports reported on Wednesday that Levante David hasn't officially signed back with the Bucs yet after agreeing to terms, but he says it isn't a bad thing. In fact, he says it isn't anything to worry about. If David had signed a contract before Wednesday of last week, the team could have spread out some of his cap hit and taken $4.6 million in dead cap across subsequent seasons. Because he hasn't, though, his full $6.9 million cap hit will be taken in 2023 instead of moved back further down the line. This is what you see this administration and this organization and Jason Light over there doing. They're taking the cap hits because they're setting it up for future years. They want to make sure that they have enough cap for 2024, 2025. They don't want any lingering effects. So yes, they did all these restructures, but they most likely did those restructures in the mindset of, we're not doing it this year. We're not going to take the cap hit this year, or we're going to take the cap hit this year. We're not going to take them in future years. Does that make sense? I hope it does. 727-255-0391. It's 727-255-0391. If you can't get in on that number, 727-409-7528. Again, 727-409-7528. Also talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I've gotten the response to do it, but I would like to do it. It's the Sean the Sports Don Smack Off, where we get two fans to debate each other. And you had Kevin right there and Tristan. I feel like we should put together a night, which would be Wednesday night, probably at the 9:30, 10 o'clock hour, and have two fans on camera, where you have to have good Wi-Fi. You have to have a good camera. You can't be in a bathroom or something along those lines, or an outhouse or something like that. And you both debate each other on the hot topics of the day. The topics that I pick. A couple topics maybe. Would you like to do that? I'd like to do that. Again, we call it the Sean the Sports Don Smack Off. Again, rest in peace, Mr. Sean. Let me go out to the phone lines. Welcome to the Evolution. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, Peter? It's Charles.
What's going on, Charles Richardson? Long time no hear, my friend.
No, not bad. I definitely want to go ahead and take on the whole Baker thing real quick.
Okay.
I'm just going to go ahead and say this.
Say it.
Baker is Jameis Winston 2.0.
Oh,
Anybody that doesn't want to hear it,
okay.
I'm sorry.
I got you.
I just see this guy being a turnover machine. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. That's great.
Sure.
But I just see him being a turnover machine. He's going to miss wide open spots. He's a gunslinger. And I really do hope Trask eats his Wheaties. He goes in there and beats out Mayfield for the job. Because I think, he's been in the system. He knows the system better. You got all that talent. You got Jameis. What happened? Baker's just with the bad decision making. I just don't see it. Yeah, he had some few good games over in LA. Probably a different system though.
Sure.
Now it's like, who's this guy that's OC? What is his system going to be? It's probably going to be run heavy. Which, by the way, why would you let Leonard Fournette go unless it's for money reasons?
Well, I think it's money reasons, but I also think you drafted Rashard White for a reason, right? I mean, he's a second round, third round pick. You want to give him every opportunity at the end of the day to come in, and you see flashes of brilliance. You saw it against Seattle with him, basically giving the safety a stiff arm, and you could see that. Even Herm Edwards compared him to Marcus Allen. He compares himself to Le'Veon Bell. He's a younger runner. Leonard Fournette, at times last year, whether he was dealing with an injury or not, looked like he had a piano on his back. And I get where you're saying, bring him in, keep him. But he's been out there as a free agent. Nobody's picked him up. You can get a running back for a small value of what you were paying Leonard Fournette, and you can also draft one. So I think at the end of the day, I understand where you're coming from, but you have Rashard White in the house, you have Keyshawn Vaughn, and you also have the opportunity to go out and draft somebody younger. You want to get younger, and you also want to cut cap. So I think that's where they were going with it.
Just got a lot of question marks in regards to this offense, which struggled last year. Yes,
Sure.
you got rid of Leftwich.
Sure.
You're bringing in somebody else. But again, I'm going to go with the TB on this one. Todd Bowles, nah. It's kick him to the curb.
You're not buying him? You're not buying him? Do you think he's on the hot seat at this point? I think that's the reason why you go after Baker Mayfield in the first place, because you feel more comfortable with going with a proven commodity like Mayfield, even though he's had his up and downs. And, of course, he's had the turnover situation. You feel good about him winning you games more than a guy who's thrown only 9 passes.
I would rather have Sam Darnold than that, to be honest with you.
Wow. Well, he went to San Francisco. That was a shocker.
I know, but
right.
Yeah. But San Francisco needs to load up on there because of what they had 3 quarterbacks start last year, and now they're down to 1. Jimmy G gone, and now
Purdy. Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Purdy. Yeah. Purdy's out for the year, so now you're down to 1. So you got to hope that Trey Lance fields up. Well, you're going to go to Donald. But yeah, I mean, I see the Bucs winning 7 games this year. And again, if I'm wrong, great. But if they win 7 and 10 and there's no improvement, what would say we're not rebuilding, we're reloading or something like that.
Reloading, retooling, yes, that's what we've heard. Yes.
So let's reload, and if the results don't come in there, I think we know where the first domino fell, because 8 and 9 with Brady, no. And that was the first year for Bowles, and it's like he needs to turn that around.
Yeah, he's definitely got to turn it around. And I got my big-time questions about Bowles, what the clock management, can he handle this team? He's going to get his own staff now, so I think that's fair by the Bucs to do that. And you're exactly right. I definitely think the pressure is on free agency-wise with the Bucs. And I ask you this, you're a Patriots fan. We all know that. Charles Richardson of the Charles Richardson Show here on the Sports Web. We're going to get out to Turnbuckle Talk in just a moment. Hold on, guys, and we'll read the comments.
I'm definitely wanting to get on that too. If you let me.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a second call. You can use it, or you can get in there and text if you want to. But tell me how your Patriots have done. I'm hearing rumors they could be in on the DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes. You pick up your Juju Smith-Schuster. What's the Patriots doing, and what's your grade for them so far?
I like what they've done. I'm not sure how Juju's going to fit versus Jacoby. A lot of people say they're very similar. Maybe Juju has a step here and there, maybe a little bit better hands. I like Gesicki. I like picking up Gesicki, going to a full 2 tight end.
It's a good move.
Getting rid of.
Really good
I
move.
think that was on top of that too. Now we have some inside knowledge on the fish, which, let's be honest, once this Aaron Rodgers thing goes through, you're looking 1, 2, 3 Buffalo, Miami, Jets in the East. I mean, I'm not giving my Patriots much of a chance on that because there's stiff competition right there. And a lot of it's going to come down to how the OC does this year. Now we have a real OC. Mac Jones is going to – this is his opportunity to go ahead and prove everybody wrong. You have a full complement of receivers. You have a up-and-coming deep threat with Tyquan Thornton. You got Deion Parker out there. You got the 2 tight ends. You got a proven running back, a line that's suspect. I think it should get better, but the tools are there. Now everything's in set. Now it's the same thing with the Bucs. You got to go ahead and prove it. I expect the Patriots to win 9 or 10 this year, and maybe make the squeak into the playoffs in the wild card.
Are they a B or C in your opinion, or are they an A? Have they done everything you thought they were going to do? Are you disappointed with what the Patriots have done in free agency?
If they get D-Hop, I'll put them to an A, but right now it's a B.
All right, good stuff, man. Definitely keep on tuning in. Anything else here on the evolution?
Go Cody Rhodes.
There you go. Hey, listen, we're about to talk about that really quick, so hold off. Call back here in about 5-10 minutes. We're going to talk about that, and some fan threw this out there, and I think it's an interesting question, if you will. Charles, thanks a lot for the call. Appreciate it. Call back, all right?
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Charles Richardson of the Charles Richardson Show. Lots of calls tonight. No Harry the Greek, I guess. That's okay. We got it handled. We got Turnbuckle Talk coming up here in just a little bit. Start at 10:20, but we're going to go a little bit later because I want to read these comments. We'll get the guys on. We'll talk wrestling if you want to switch gears. My guys are very versatile, so they can talk football with you. You can talk World Baseball Classic, which we didn't get a chance to talk about. Congratulations to Japan and Otani for getting it done, even though you like to see the USA win. Congratulations to them. Let's read these comments, and then we'll get out to the guys. All right, let's see here. Where did we leave off? All right. Bears 2023 NFC North champions. Roger again. Hurry up. AEW is on. Adam Cole, Bay. Tristan says, do we start drinking now or wait a few minutes? It's up to you. You can drink while watching the Sports Web. Very much up to you.
Yeah!
Troy says, no one even does shows for 12:51 sports anymore. It's 12:52.
This guy sucks.
Oh, Troy. Roger Shue says, Ralph and Mancini are jabroni marks. You know what? You're going to respond to these guys are going to respond to you after that comment, okay? We're going to get them on in just a moment. Already fighting words here from Roger, the
acknowledge me.
Tribal troll. Bucks free agency is an F.
Shitter!
I would expect nothing less from you there, troll.
I'm straight up the suck right there.
All right, let's go out to Christopher. Leo, good comment. Matt says Roger should just stay home. Roger should stay home at Green Bay. He should retire as a Packer. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. He may retire if they can't work out that deal, but the Packers are ready to turn the page. We talked about it. Packers are not sold on Love. I think they're ready for the Love era to begin. Mike says, we're going to need major help in the secondary since Sean Murphy-Bunting. That's not much of a loss to me. And in fact, it's not much of a surprise. Very inconsistent player. Goes to the Titans, which, by the way, consequently are last in the National Football League when it comes to giving up passing yards. They get Sean Murphy-Bunting. Look, he's got potential. He's only making $5 million, but he has to be more consistent. I think the Bucs are ready to turn the page. They get Jamel Dean in the fold. They got Carlton Davis. They can go and get somebody in the draft in the second, third round, possibly even the first round if somebody drops that they like. I would more say second or third because that's what Jason Light's MO is. And remember, they also drafted Zion McCollum in the 5th round last year. He could be the future. Needs to learn how to tackle better. Mike says left. White and Elliott would be a formidable two-headed monster. I agree.
Oh, yeah!
Let's go out to Roger. Peter, who is Peter King? Bears looking at him, probably misspelled his name. Who would waste their life coming to Tampa to a team that won't be seeing the playoffs in another 15 to 20 years? and yet you still watch this show.
This guy sucks.
Oh, Matt, do we need to spend all of our free agent money on Elliott? I don't think we should. Look, it's not my money, Matt. We've been down this road before. I can't budget a checkbook, and you most likely can't either. Let them do their thing if they want to spend money. You got to win when you can win. That's what it comes down to. I trust and have faith in this Buccaneer organization. Bucks win 6 to 8 games this year. Okay, I'll take that.
Oh, yeah.
You're not being a troll on that. Green Bay is in no love with Jordan Love. He looked like in the games I've seen him in. Mike says, good point. Matt says Evans calls Manziel to look like a stud. That's a good point also.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to Roger after today. Pete needs a beer. I don't know why I need a beer, but I guess I'll give you that. KR says, evening, guys. I think that's Kevin. Thanks a lot for calling in once again.
Flawless victory.
Great calls tonight, by the way. Tristan, Matt, Kevin, you guys are bringing it. Roger, of course, you haven't called because you're going crickets, watching AEW. Yeah. Ralph says, hi, Leo, Peter, and Harry. Bucks GM free agent is signed. I'm waiting to see the draft for this year. Okay, that's fair enough. No Harry tonight. Thanks a lot, Ralph. We'll have you on in just a moment. Ask Leo about Bears free agency. No. Vita Vea was said to have short arms. I have T-Rex arms on my D-line all day. If all he does is pancake the opposing guards, good point.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go out to Roger. Kicked money down the road. You still will be in cap hell. Not for long there, sucker. Christopher Cole, Peter King is a Bucks hater. I agree. Troy Polamalu, the Saints signed a real franchise quarterback, a good man in and out off the field. We, the Bucks, signed an immature buffoon.
This guy sucks.
Mike, once the Bulls build a stadium on the Mosey side, albeit the move to downtown Tampa. Good comment there.
Flawless victory.
Troy again, let's go Japan, WBC champs, okay?
How about them Bucks, baby?
You get a Byron. USA sucks at baseball in every game. Mike Trout was getting struck out.
This guy sucks.
Mike says you should see attendance climb. That should definitely help. I'm not taking Atlanta lightly. I don't know what to think of Atlanta, but it's a good comment.
Oh, yeah.
B is my grade. All right. Thank you, Kevin. Christopher Cole says if they sign Will G, I will give them an A. Of course, William Golston, who I definitely think is an underappreciated player for this defensive line. I think they will eventually get it worked out or they will go younger. But I would expect William Golston, if he wants to come back, he will be brought back. He's definitely a big part of this defensive line. Re-sign. Roger says, be a journalist. Quit being a damn homer. I tell you what, how about you do your show?
That's great enough to suck right there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You don't have one. So shut up. Let's go out to KR, Logan Hall. We haven't talked about him. Definitely expecting big things out of him from last year. Second round pick, has to get stronger at the point of attack. KR again, JTS needs to get better. Absolutely. Big year for Jason Light draft picks, right? JTS, if he can develop, you got an outside pass rusher, an edge rusher, and then Logan Hall, he's got to get stronger at that defensive tackle / defensive end position. Corey says Bucks should trade Joe Tryon and Keyshawn Vaughn late around draft picks. Corey, they have no value at this point, so I don't know about that comment. KR says Vea was not a sap. That old Tampa 2 defense is not what Bowles is calling it now. It's not. KR says hell no on trading Godwin. Agree.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's like, trade Godwin, trade Mike Evans. No. You got 2 professional wide receivers here. Let me get this straight. You want to possibly start Kyle Trask and you want to get rid of his weapons? No.
That's great enough to suck right there.
You want Baker Mayfield to possibly lead this team to the playoffs? You're not trading Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. No.
That's great enough to suck right there.
No.
How about no?
All right, Mike, Tryon should be here. Tristan says, what position does Vita play? Nose tackle, not the 3. Compare the player to the average of the position. I understand where you're coming from on this, Tristan, but they do play different positions. They do have different responsibilities. Vea is a monster. He is. And I think it's a little bit unfair to characterize him as a guy that's not making other players around him better because we've seen him do that. Go back to the 2020 postseason where he was the biggest key to that defensive line, where Shaq Barrett went off, where JPP went off because of that big hoss, if you will, up front, taking the pressure, taking those double and triple teams, and freeing those outside guys to go after the quarterbacks. Just saying. Tulio says people have a problem with Baker being signed, but yet they're wanting to trade Godwin. Are they friggin' high? WTF. Agree.
Yeah.
Let's go out to Corey. Bucks should trade Joe Tryon. You said that already. I don't know why you said it again. If you don't have a quarterback, you're in a bad salary cap. What's the easiest position to fill? Okay. Mike says Joe Tryon is going nowhere. Charles says Todd Bowles needs to go. Just my opinion. I definitely think he could be on the hot seat. And he's there's a lot of doubts out there from Bucks Nation and Bucks groups, just talking to them in general, where they have a big time question mark on if Todd Bowles can get it done as a coach in this league. And I think they're valid concerns with clock management, but he's going to get his own staff. Jason Light made sure of it, so there will be no excuses. He's got his quarterback, he's got his offense, he's got his defense, he's got his offensive coordinator. No excuses at the end of the day. I don't want them to see them fire another coach. That's what bad teams do. You continue to recycle coaches. You can continue to fire coaches and GMs and change. Yeah, that's not a good team. That's not stability. That's the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the Cleveland Browns, if you will. That's what that is. Let's go out to Tristan here. A run-heavy offense with the highest-paid wide receiver in the room, and trading Godwin is crazy. Make it make sense? Well, Godwin is also a phenomenal blocker. Godwin also, you're going to go with pass play action when you're run-heavy. It's not like you're abandoning the pass. You still have those pass plays, and with Baker Mayfield being able to make all those throws, not only to his team, but the other team sometimes, you can see some fireworks. Hopefully more for this team than the other. We'll put it out there. Charles says Baker's a turnover machine. Jameis Winston 2.0. All right. So 7 and 10. Thank you, Charles. Appreciate you commenting and tuning in as always. Corey says 7 and 10, 8 and 9. KR says the caller's talking crazy now. Shake my head. Fournette is washed. I agree with you. Baker Mayfield had 1 playoff win. Jameis Winston has no playoff wins. That's a good point.
Oh, yeah.
Better team around him if you want to be fair, but you're exactly right. More wins by Baker Mayfield than Jameis Winston. Mayfield had 1 good season, played Pittsburgh and Big Ben's swan song of calamity. That's a good comment.
Oh, yeah.
And then go out to Corey here. Aaron Rodgers, Jeopardy game show. He may be a Jeopardy game show host. Could even do that. Tell you what, let's take a quick break. I'm going to rest my vocalizer. And when we come back, we'll have Turnbuckle Talk with the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer, and, of course, Pittsburgh's forgotten son, Ralph Williams. Keep it locked on the evolution of Sports Talk Television.
uwager.lv, sportsbook, and casino. Sign up today at uwager.lv, the premier online sportsbook, taking wagers since 1998. The most player-friendly lines, weekly juice specials, and a true dime line in MLB. Unique casino platforms with thousands of games. Play poker, high stakes, low stakes, or tournament play. uwager.lv, what we offer. Free same-day payouts. Customer service and wagering support, 24/7, year-round. Free monthly rebates on your action and daily casino rebates. Contests, free bets, best bonuses, and giveaways. Generous referral program. Get an 80% free play bonus on your first deposit, up to $1,000. Sign up today, and use promo code SPORTSWEB. Remember, you can't win if you don't play.
Welcome back to the evolution of Sports Talk Television. That's right. You can't win if you don't play. uwager.lv, promo code SportsWeb. If you're betting on March Madness, NHL action, baseball right around the corner, use my promo code SportsWeb right there and take advantage of all the great deals there. 80% bonus for going to uwager.lv. All right, good stuff there. Let's go out to Turnbuckle Talk here. Yes, the rumors are true. We do talk about professional wrestling, whether you like it or not. Open phone lines. If you want to talk about WrestleMania, if you want to talk about WWE action, if you want to talk about all the scuttlebutt going on in AEW, Tony Khan possibly going after who's next? Bill Goldberg. 727-255 0391. It's 727-255-0391. Again, 727-409-7528. 727-409-7528. Let's go out to the madman himself, Mr. former XPW announcer, Mancini Media, XM Sirius Radio, Mr. Mark Mancini. Welcome to the Evolution, my friend.
Oh, man, this is the throwdown in Tampa, and Roger Rabbit there. Tell him my shoe size is size 13.
Yes.
And, you know, you got to
put up his ass.
You got to put the mute on that Dumb and Dumber movies watching. Get rid of the rotary phone that we're still using and put that 69 Ford Pinto away. Damn it!
You know, I need you to call in, Roger, because you got fighting words from my man right here, Mr. Madman himself, Mark Mancini, calling these guys jabronis. I mean, what the hell are you talking about? Let me go.
That dude's never been to Pittsburgh. That's probably it. And I know the Forgotten Son is going to lay down the law too.
Lay it down there, my friend. Mr. Ralph Williams, the bodyguard of the Berg, Pittsburgh's Forgotten Son. Welcome to the What do you have to say to the tribal troll there, Mr. Roger Shue? Go ahead. Shoot a promo for me, my friend.
I will. Roger Shue came to town riding on a pony. I stuck my foot right up his ass and called him a jabroni.
Oh! Love it. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff. All right, let's talk about WrestleMania, WWE. What is it, about a week away? I mean, what do we think of the promos here done by Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes? Basically, Roman saying the other night on Monday Night Raw, Cody, you always run, even making your own company, and when you couldn't get over, you ran. Mark, your thoughts here on the Sports Web.
Well, I'll be there next week, and I'll tell you, when I look at this thing, man, this thing can get really interesting. We all thought, maybe – Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are in cahoots to take these belts from the Usos. But what if Sami Zayn pulls something and it was all part of a big major plan?
Whoa. Don't get ahead of yourself here. Don't steal my thunder, because you saw one of the fans out there putting this out there. So don't give it away. Just comment.
Hey, if it comes down to Reigns and Rhodes, man, I love Reigns. I want to see him hold the belt. And if he gets 1,000 days with that sucker, man, more power to him.
All right, good stuff there. I still think Cody wins it. I mean, what do you think of the promos done here by Cody? And, of course, Roman Reigns saying in so many words, Cody, you've been running all your life. You're going to run again.
I don't think so, guys. I think Cody Rhodes is going to succeed in beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. It's already out there that the bloodline's going to be broken up at the end of WrestleMania. Roman Reigns wants to get out for a little while. I heard another rumor he might be back for SummerSlam to fight The Rock. So we're going to see what happens. WWE got some tricks up their sleeve. WrestleMania right now is on the cheap because Vince McMahon's trying to impress some of these organizations and groups that want to buy the WWE. And I heard it's being done on the cheap. They're laying off workers in the office. They're laying off or cutting wrestlers out, cutting the fat.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's go out to the phone lines here. We got a guy who wants to talk about what's going on with WrestleMania. Let's go out to Charles Richardson of the Charles Richardson Show. Welcome. You're on with yours truly, along with the madman himself, former XPW announcer, Mr. Mark Mancini, and, of course, the bodyguard of the Berg, Mr. Ralph Williams. Go, Charles.
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's going on?
How you doing?
So yeah, I'm definitely hearing the same thing. Roman's going to step away after WrestleMania, so it's almost a shoo-in that Cody's going to win. It's just a matter of is Cody going to win with KO and Sammy stepping in when the Usos step in to try to help Roman? I mean, I think that's kind of interesting. I'm also kind of interested because Sammy's already starting to plant seeds inside Jay and Jimmy's head. Does Jay and Jimmy, when they do break up, do they kind of side with him? Do they form a stable?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of interesting storylines here. And I also see kind of an outside wild card. I see the Judgment Day stepping up to being the next big stable.
Oh, I hope not. Because
that's not happening.
We have talked about the Judgment Day and how, Charles, they have failed ever since they got rid of Edge there. They're just all over the place. The only thing that's probably entertaining about the Judgment Day is probably Rhea Ripley And she's going to probably be the champion. I think she's going to beat Charlotte, right? She's going to face Charlotte. And then also Dominic Mysterio, and not in a good way. Dominic Mysterio, they made his character a joke. The whole prison thing is just stupid. I don't see that stable getting over. And in fact, I definitely think you could see that bloodline breaking apart. And Cody even said that the other night when he did his promo. Let me ask you really quick, Charles, because I asked the guys here. What did you think of the promos? What have you thought of the promo the other night there with basically Roman saying Cody's going to run, and then Cody coming back at him saying, once you lose the title, you're going to lose everybody, including Paul Heyman, because he's going to become the advocate again for Brock Lesnar.
I can't get over Cody's lisp. I'll be honest with you. Everything I hear, the promos have been excellent. I think everybody's getting really deep into this. The storytelling on this whole thing, the whole bloodline thing, has been amazing. Cody just coming in now. Of course, now it's like everything he has to prove, to his family, and Roman digging in to say, hey, Dusty always said everything about everybody else, but he said nothing about you. I mean, the whole thing just is taken personal. And Cody digging at Roman personal. And Roman, you could see when, everybody's like pointing fingers, like you're under the Roman's thumb and this and that. Roman got kind of shocked and just walked away. You didn't see Roman respond after Cody went ahead and said everybody's going to leave you. Yeah. So, and even Solo was like, hey, Roman,
Charles,
Solo, get over here.
His name is Solo. It's a dead giveaway. He's Solo. He's not going to have a bloodline.
He's been Solo since he's been in the bloodline. You see him with arms crossed. No, he's just got a poker face the whole time.
Right.
It's like there's no character there.
No, there's no character at all. And of course, he has the Samoan spike. So I believe his father was the one that they're in the. I believe it's his father, but
it's his. It's the same.
Rikishi's his father. So it's his great. Samoan.
Here's the thing, guys, and I know you guys all think it's gonna, they're gonna break up, but if you're trying to sell a company, you can keep this thing going for another year. And the WWE, they always play these swerves. So when you think something's coming, then it really goes the other way on this, and I think it's gonna get extended here.
Well, let me ask you. Let me put this out there because you're trying to steal my thunder once again, Mark. A fan was saying this the other night. What if the storyline goes? And I'll ask you, Charles, and then we'll get you out of here because we got more things to talk about. But definitely chime in again if you want to. But what would happen if once again Sami Zayn turns on Kevin Owens and somehow Roman Reigns wins that title and they keep the tag team titles? What if the bloodline keeps on going and they don't give the title to Cody Rhodes because eventually they're going to give it to Dwayne Johnson, The Rock? What would you think about that?
Well, then you're going to have the Pittsburgh Steelers back-to-back Super Bowl champs coming, like, carrying it like they did in the 70s for a couple of years. But here's the thing. I mean, you can keep this thing going. And the only guy I've always said that should be able to take that thing away and set the record straight is The Rock. The Rock or somebody on that other side of that coin of his family should take it. I don't put so much, Rhodes is not the guy. And I know you guys like Rhodes on this thing, but I don't. The only thing, it'd be almost like Sheamus. I think Sheamus has a better chance of winning the Intercontinental Championship that he's never had than Rhodes taking this belt from Roman Reigns.
Well, to my point, you're missing out on a great storyline there with Rhodes because his father never won a heavyweight championship, let alone a world title. You get him to win the Universal, whatever they're going to do with it. Triple H is going to definitely divide the titles. But let me ask you, Charles.
Cody Rhodes would have never left AEW, guys, if there wasn't something in for him in WWE. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Charles, what would you say about that? Thanks a lot, Ralph. Go ahead, Charles.
So, I definitely see Cody winning it. It's going to put an end to it. I don't see Cody being a long-term replacement for the title. I think we're going to see, even Kevin Owens maybe take a step up, maybe even one of the If they want to go ahead and get behind Solo, let's go ahead and get Solo
Seth
in there.
Rollins.
To take it back to the bloodline.
What about Seth Rollins? I mean, Seth Rollins right now, a babyface. Could they
Seth Rollins is a B card now. He's facing Logan Paul, for crying out loud. So they obviously don't see much in Seth Rollins right now because he's he's probably going to go mid Saturday night. That's how much they feel about Seth Rollins.
No. See the heat. I get what you're saying there, Charles. You're trying to stir it up here, my friend. But Logan Paul is a talented wrestler, absolutely talented wrestler. I don't think he's a B card.
Part-timer. He's a part-timer. And the same thing I would say about The Rock winning the title. This is Triple H's WWE now.
Yeah,
I don't care about
do that.
Vince coming back. But yeah, don't put it on a part-timer.
Just
you
like
want to go ahead and put The Rock in there, go ahead and make it entertaining, but don't put it on a part-timer.
Just like you don't have Brock Lesnar go over on The Undertaker. And this came out this week, guys. And Charles, we'll get you out of here on this.
All right.
Edge was supposed to beat The Undertaker when I believe The Undertaker was 15-0. And Edge said, "No, what? I don't want that." We heard that Randy Orton was supposed to beat Undertaker, and it didn't happen. So for me, that streak should still be going. There should have been nobody beat Undertaker. But the worst part about it, gentlemen, at the end of the day, Charles, you can comment first, and then we'll get out to you guys. They should have never had Brock Lesnar. It doesn't do anything for Brock Lesnar. He's already got, his gimmick. He's already got his legacy at the end of the day. He's a part-timer. You could have used that for a younger wrestler like Randy Orton coming up, for somebody like that. You could have used it for them to put them over. Even a Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt should have beaten The Undertaker, and that should have been the passing of the torch, if you will, Charles.
Let me say my final words and I'll get out of your hair. But
yeah,
Brock Lesnar, part-timer. He sells tickets. That's why they're putting him with Omos to try to get Omos over.
Horrible.
So over. But yeah, you don't put it on Brock Lesnar anymore. I think Brock's at the tail end of his WWE career for good. But yeah, my WrestleMania, I'm going to go. Rhea takes the titles.
Okay.
I think the Usos drop the title. No, I take that back. The Usos keep the titles.
Okay.
I think they keep the titles. And of course, Cody is going to win it. So I'm sure there's other matches that are going to come through. I really could care less about Seth Rollins and Logan Paul, but I'll say Seth Rollins wins that one because he's been getting his ass kicked for the past couple of times. So I'm sure he's making Logan Paul look good so he can kick his ass for WrestleMania.
All right, good stuff, Charles Richardson. Thanks a lot for your time, my friend.
Great guy, man.
Into Turnbuckle Talk. All right, good stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, Peter.
Yes.
Just on that note, as much as everybody might want to see a Rhodes Reigns match, I think the classic would have been an Orton if he wasn't injured. Orton Reigns would have went through the roof.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about Orton and Reigns. I think Cody is better. It's a better storyline. He got hurt. Yeah. He's been out for a year. His father, Dusty Rhodes, who, you look at FCW and some of the wrestlers talking about Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. If it wasn't for Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, who had some great promos, not about to compare Cody and Dusty because it's asinine. Cody's got his own place in wrestling history. A lot of people will still call him a mid-card. I definitely think he's main event material. That's the reason why he went back to WWE in the first place. But Dusty was a big part of the development in WWE. What better storyline to give his kid, who has never won a title, Dusty never won a title like that, to beat Roman Reigns. That puts him over 100%. Then you can't take away Cody's legacy because he's the guy that defeated Roman Reigns. So to me, it makes sense. I don't understand it. I would not go Roman Reigns versus The Rock. Of course, everybody tight-lipped on that situation. So we'll see how that all plays out. Let me go out to these comments here. Cody Rhodes wins Universal Champion belt. Goes back to Raw. That's what Raw needs. Roman Reigns to AEW. Now you're just spreading rumors.
This guy sucks.
Don't be trolling here. Paul Heyman going to work with Cody Rhodes next. I don't see that happening at all. You know who's been missing from WWE television? Alexa Bliss, and we know why. She says, "Dear younger me, you should have stayed out of the tanning beds. All clear now." She's talking about skin cancer. Thank God she was able to overcome that. She showed on her Instagram. She had a She was all clear after undergoing a skin cancer procedure to remove basal cell carcinoma, which is the most common form of skin cancer. So it's going to be good to have her back. A lot of people kind of wondered where she's been. Really scary situation, Mark.
Yo, I mean, that's news you broke, and I'm glad you broke it because
yes, sir.
This throwdown in Tampa, we break the news, man. Move over ESPN, we're coming.
Yeah.
And
yes,
when you look at that, I kind of wondered the same thing, Ralph and Peter. You know what's going on here? Are they building that thing with Bray Wyatt and that whole thing? And
you're trying to steal my thunder again now.
Oh no!
You just hold up there because I'm about to report on that. But your thoughts on Alexa?
That's one of the reasons why in the beginning I thought, like where is she? Because that's where it looked like it was going.
Right. Well, there was supposedly a group together, and now you don't know what's going on. We'll get to that in a moment. Ralph, your thoughts on Alexa Bliss dealing with skin cancer? Very talented performer. It's a shame that you miss her. I think she definitely embraced the Bray Wyatt gimmick, probably better than he did. But your thoughts on that situation?
Well, I call Bray Wyatt Mr. No Match because he doesn't really fight anybody. He only fought LA Knight since he's been back since last October. I have a rumor I just found out just now that I got on my phone from someone that at the end of WrestleMania, Bray Wyatt's getting fired. So I don't know.
Wow.
That might happen again. But Alexa Bliss, that's a shame. She was trying to make a comeback a little bit. She's had numerous concussions, and she's trying to make a comeback, and now she has skin cancer. And I know for a fact Bill Cowher, the former Steeler coach, his wife Kay died of skin cancer. So that's something you don't play around with. So
yeah,
I
hate the word cancer because I've been struck by it in my family once again. Great prayers to her and her family, everybody else involved that she's been able to be clear of that. Let's go out to the comments. Tulio says, have Roman be the champion until MJF arrives to WWE. Gentlemen, what do we think of that? Madman first.
That could be interesting, but here's where I'm going to keep pointing it out. Where if you put Roman Reigns into the sunset and let him go and do his thing, how are you trying to sell a product that he has taken SmackDown and blown that completely up? Who is gonna come anywhere close of raising the bar what Roman Reigns has done? So you can't let him go. If you're gonna let him go, you don't put him out the pasture right away after WrestleMania. You got to ease into this, and this might be a monthly thing as far as letting it string out. So, I like the way it's going with him. I want to see him really shatter every record, but I know a lot of people are tired of, him in the bloodline.
Well, and I think a lot of people are tired of that storyline, but, MJF has been talked about a lot. There's some confusion if he's going to leave AEW, a lot of talk. I think at the end of the day, any AEW superstar kind of goes back to Cody. It goes back to Kenny Omega, which we've been kind of speculating here, Ralph, that he's going to choose WWE because it is the pinnacle. It is the WWE universe. It is the creme de la creme at the end of the day of the wrestling business. So keep the title on Roman until MJF appears?
No. MJF has beaten Cody Rhodes in AEW. MJF, his contract's up in January of next year, and he's already made comments on promos that he's done on AEW that he's going to the WWE, and he says he can't wait to get there. I don't think anything's going to happen with AEW beyond that. So I think he'll hold the title until the very last minute. I believe that. I would like to see MJF in WWE. He's good with the microphone. He's also a pretty talented wrestler and can stir up a stew pot. So, I mean, I believe he would be great in the WWE as far as that goes. And it could sell some tickets because his popularity is growing. And he's going to take it with him to the WWE. Kenny Omega's going to do the same thing. And so is the Young Bucks. They are no longer executive vice presidents from what I hear. So, they're tired of Tony Khan's crap and they went out. So I think they're going to leave when their contracts are up.
All right, good stuff there, Ralph. Ralph Williams, the bodyguard of the Burr. You got Mark Mancini, former XPW announcer. Yeah, man, what's up?
I was just thinking of Wade Barrett. The guy on Mondays with Corey Graves. What's that guy's name? The other guy. Just lost my train of thought.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't remember his name.
Byron Saxton?
The British,
No.
the British guy.
The British
I know
guy.
Kevin, trying to think of his name.
Oh my gosh!
I see. Here's the problem, guys. I try to watch Monday Night Raw, but I do a show on Monday nights at 9.
Oh my God, is he annoying? They need to bring in Wade Barrett and put him up with Corey Graves.
I
got some bad news.
I love Barrett. I think
Barrett
is the most under,
I
and
got
he
some
got
bad
hurt.
news.
Love it. All right, let me go out to Corey here, Mr. Troll King for the night. Bring back Mr. Kennedy. No chance at all
Mr.
that
Kennedy.
WWE will bring back Mr. Kennedy.
Kennedy.
Too many things off the
I
map.
didn't.
here.
You guys were talking about Charlotte Flair dropping the belt. I don't think so. I like her, man. I think she's gonna hold. She just got it. I don't know why you drop
she's
it.
done it way too much. It's time to turn the page. Rhea Ripley is a superstar, which it looks like she is. That's who you give the title to.
What about Bianca Belair?
Well, you give her the title because who is she wrestling? Asuka, right?
Asuka.
Yeah.
Asuka. Yeah, I keep the belt on her. But it's gonna be a good match. Any way it goes. All right, let's go out to Dave Metzler of Wrestling Observer Radio, who said Bray Wyatt and Bobby Lashley, the build toward that match may no longer be the case. In fact, Wyatt is dealing with a health issue that hasn't been cleared up yet.
Wow.
Metzler noted that it looks like Wyatt won't be a part of WrestleMania. WWE has began the build Wyatt versus Lashley, with Lashley cutting a promo on Wyatt, Bray taunting Lashley with the Muscle Man dance on the big screen, and Lashley beating down Uncle Howdy. Neither Wyatt nor Lashley were on last week's SmackDown or this week's Raw, however, calling into question the likelihood of the match happening. Lashley was present for Monday Night Raw, but he did not appear on the show, and the run sheet didn't list him as being a part of the show either. After being out of WWE for more than a year, October, while he's cut many promos and segments, his in-ring action has been limited. So what do we think of this? Because I think I'm the most disappointed. I think Bray Wyatt is one of the most talented wrestlers, one of the most talented performers, very creative. I think in terms, this company really killed his character, and then you bring him back. And to tell you the truth, I've been really disappointed with what Triple H and again, it may be something we don't know about. It seems like it could be a health issue, and it could be a mental issue, because we know that Bray was really broken up about his friend passing away and dying unexpectedly. And I'm trying to think of his damn name at this point.
Yeah. What was his name?
I cannot think of his name, and I should know his name. But he was in WWE at the time. He was in AEW. I'll figure it out in a moment, but just talk about Bray Wyatt really quick. Have you been disappointed, Mark, with his comeback?
Well, I've been disappointed the way WWE has handled him when he was trying to build a thing with his whole thing when we first saw him. I thought WWE killed it when they had the Kane thing going. They could have done the Undertaker. It could have been one of the best things. And when I look at factions, you can have NWO over there. With WCW, but when I look at the factions of WWE, there's 3 to come to mind: the Nexus, I think, the Bloodline, and the Shield. And they missed the boat on Bray Wyatt, because you could have really built something with the Undertaker, Kane, all those guys in the stable, and they killed it. But they waste their time with a stupid thing like the Judgment Day that just keeps going. They just force something to, the Judgment Day to me is like making me eat eggplant parmesan or spinach and shoving it down my throat every week. I don't like it. Don't give me it. Give me chicken parmesan.
Right. It's like I always talk about. People say, why don't you eat vegetables in your eggs? Because I sleep 6 to 8 hours usually. I don't look forward to getting up and eating my scrambled eggs with vegetables in them. I just don't want that. I want cheese and bacon. Keep it simple. Maybe a little bit of ketchup. People go, why don't you eat tomatoes? Because I eat like ketchup. I don't like vegetables. So I know exactly what you're saying. Ralph, Bray Wyatt, disappointed with him coming back and all this hoopla, and really hasn't done anything.
No, I call him one match Bray, and no, he hasn't done anything at all. Vince McMahon's upset with him because he's upset with Triple H because he brought him back and he hasn't done anything. He's paying him a lot of money. But I just got that story here on my phone that says that the end of after WrestleMania they're going to fire him, and so let's see if that happens because he's been a waste. And the only match he had was against L.A. Knight, and he hasn't done anything else. And the sad part about this is they built this matchup with Bray Wyatt and Lashley. I wanted to see this match, and now it's not going to happen at all. They're trying to find an opponent for Lashley. I don't know how quick they can do that or who they can find. So, and now the rumor is that Lashley could interfere in the Lesnar-Omos match and join the new Hurt Business. So I'm hearing that story now. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what happens. Let's go on to Steve Austin here. He says he kept on turning down WWE and their pitches. And by the way, the wrestler who passed away unexpectedly was Brody Lee, John Hubner.
Yep.
Of course, he was
Lee,
with right.
Brody Lee.
Let me go back out to the comments really quick here. Corey says Nikki Cross should be a champion. Not happening. And Sabrina Beatty with the comment there. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that was. I don't know what it is, but thanks a lot for tuning in there.
Well,
right.
you know what, guys? And if you want Lashley to have a match, the guy that's looking for a match, and it's in his backyard, would be L.A. Knight.
L.A. Knight, yeah.
L.A. Knight against
the problem is there's no build up to it. So why do I care about LA Knight versus Bobby Lashley? Where's the storyline at? And this is the problem. This has been the problem in the past with WWE. It's the building of a character. It's also, the storyline development. And that's what's gotten better with Triple H. I can't go back.
How come LA Knight is not involved and it's in LA?
That's a great question. I think he should be involved in some way. I just don't know if it's going to be a wrestling match. Now, Steve Austin.
I think Lashley should fight Otis.
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 Yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah, I hate that storyline. Steve Austin says, Otis kept on turning down WWE's pitches for WrestleMania 38 match until they came back with a different creative. He appeared on the Out of Character on Wednesday and spoke about his in-ring return last year. I guess Austin appeared on Out of Character. Okay, I guess that's the podcast. I turned them down several times until they kept coming back with different creative. KO was always in the conversation. I was down with that calls. I love that guy. He's awesome. On the inside, I was knocking his head off so many times because I haven't thrown a punch in 19 years. That's how you know you're getting right. 19 years he hasn't thrown a punch. That's Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's been, getting those 6-ounce curls there with the Steve
watch. Them too now.
Yes, I bet he does. I told him when I got finished.
He has his own beer.
I cannot believe you didn't give me a receipt out there. That's a good-natured heart of KO. And what a receipt is, ladies and gentlemen, is if somebody hits you with a stiff shot, you hit them back with another stiff shot and you make it hurt, which has happened before between veterans and rookies and everything like that. I think he was thrilled to be out there, and I was thrilled to be with him. He it took some talking, but we got everything lined up, and you saw what happened. Now, this is interesting. Steve Austin goes on to say on the, again, the Fox Sports Out of Character podcast with Ryan Satin, he says the two men discussed a wide range of topics, including some talk of WWE 2K23 cover star John Cena, who Stone Cold never faced in his legendary career. I didn't know this. Austin regrets that and accepts it's not going to happen at this point in their lives and careers. Working with him would have been a real highlight. I had a bunch of highlights. It would have been a real special thing because there's something about John that people get so invested in his matches. He's a very special talent. It would have been great to have him match with him, but will it ever happen? No, but I think very highly of John. Austin also spoke about the match he did. He talked about with Kevin Owens again, saying that, again, he turned them down several times. It's amazing, though. John Cena versus Stone Cold.
Oh, my God.
You book that match, Mark Mancini.
That would be one hell of a match. I mean,
you book it.
Well, you'd have to book it as the main event. I mean, on that you could push that on a WrestleMania thing, I would think. I mean, if WrestleMania is 2 nights, right? If it's 2 nights, the big one always is the second night. You'd have a great match on a Saturday night to send people home to get ready for Sunday, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I want to know.
They would have to do it that way.
Yeah, I want to know on that, because that brings up an interesting point with Mankind and Cena. I don't know if they've ever wrestled, have they?
Mankind and Cena, I don't think that's ever happened either. No.
Yeah,
Cena came in the Ruthless Aggression era, and all these guys that we're talking about, Stone Cold, The Rock, Mankind, they were a part of the Attitude Era. Would it be interesting? I don't know if they've ever wrestled before.
Dude Love? Which one do you like? Dude Love, Mankind, or Cactus Jack?
Cactus Jack. You
got
love.
That was the best.
No, I mean, look, Dude Love, yeah, okay, funny character, but Cactus Jack.
I loved him when he was Cactus Jack. Yeah.
Wanted dead or alive.
Yeah.
Come on, ECW.
Bang bang.
Oh my God.
Bang bang.
And how did WCW drop the ball on that?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that.
Oh my God! All right.
I mean, remember the T-shirts "Wanted Dead or Alive"?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
he went over. He's a lot like Stone Cold, where he went over to ECW. He built up his character, and then they brought him into WWE as Mankind. They covered his face. Everybody got over. I mean, and then he had all these different characters, like you said, Dude Love, and he was doing Cactus Jack and Mick Foley.
Bring back the hardcore title.
Right.
Yeah, the hardcore title.
It's not the 24/7 title, okay?
Oh, that's gone, man. That's done.
Oh,
that's
horrible.
done. No
Did you
way.
see Nikki throw it away? I mean, that's the best thing she's done in her career. All right, huge update here on Randy Orton. His status heading into WrestleMania, as my dog is coming out right now. He's ready to go out, so we're going to make this really short here. Hopefully he doesn't stop the show here, Alex. But it looks like Orton is scheduled to be at WrestleMania 39 weekend. While it's not been confirmed whether Orton will be appearing on camera on either night of WWE's flagship show, which is hard to say. It's like a 2-night extravaganza now. It's not just one night. It's like 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday. By the way, do you guys like that?
No, I like the one night. The last one I watched, it was one night. It went to 1 o'clock in the morning, but I still liked it. It was 6 hours.
Well, that's a problem.
Sometimes it's a little too.
Well, here's the big problem.
And it ends at 1.
They come out. You got the Wrestling Con on Thursdays, I guess. Fridays the SmackDown, the Hall of Fame, then the 2-day wrestling, then you got Raw, then you got NXT. But you know the interesting thing, guys, I don't know if you noticed it. I think next year it's in Detroit. And the other 2 years after that haven't been notified. And then 27 is in Philadelphia.
I thought it was in Vegas. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Is it in Vegas or Detroit?
Yeah, next year's in Vegas. Or next year's in Detroit. The year after that, it's in Vegas. Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
wherever the Super Bowl is where WrestleMania goes. That's wherever the Super Bowl.
Wouldn't it be something if it was the same weekend? You have one night on Saturday, and then the one night you had Sunday. My dog.
Yeah, I don't like the two because I think it takes away from the big. You know, it's like having a Super Bowl played in 2 days.
Right.
We'll play the first half on Saturday and then the second half.
No, you can't. It should be Super Bowl Saturday, though, right? You should have the Super Bowl on Saturday. So
guys,
you don't have to
Orton,
Monday.
Orton and Riddle are coming back on Raw after WrestleMania. That's the rumor I got. So
okay. All right. Well, it looks like there has been no confirmation, but it looks like he's going to be there in WrestleMania weekend. The potential good news for Orton is a sharp contrast from late 2022, where it was reported that the Viper had undergone back fusion surgery. Wow. A procedure that would seem to sideline him for a significant period in February. However, a report emerged that Orton has contacted a bootmaker in order to design new wrestling boots, hinting that a return would be happening sooner than expected. PWI, which I guess is Pro Wrestling Illustrated, further noted that the internal discussion regarding Orton's status has recently popped up again with WWE. So
he's
Orton,
a young guy too.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you right now.
43. Yeah.
You expect WrestleMania back then, it was Shawn Michaels, right? And he got hurt with the back injury, and he was out since 2002, and it was either not only the back, but also substance abuse. He couldn't get himself together, and he finally got himself together. You know, you would hate to see this with Orton, but we've seen wrestlers before get hurt, take some time off, and come back. Do you think that's a possibility where Orton doesn't want to risk it? He takes a couple years off out of the business and then comes back. As my dog.
Well, I would think. I would think with Orton. And
hey, Fido, be quiet. Go ahead, Mark.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's no. My dog. Here's my dog right now. Okay, see, he's ready. He's ready to go out. Hello, Alexander. How you doing? Okay, great. Now sit. See, he doesn't listen at all. He listens at nothing at all. I know you want to go out. We'll take you out in a minute. All right, Mark, go ahead and finish.
We should have this show sponsored by Petco.
I'm telling you, man. Well, look at this. Look at this. He keeps on coming back and forth here. But go ahead, Mark.
Well, here's the thing. You know, and when those injuries, I've had back problems with the L4 and L5. I've always promised myself, hell, I'll take 800 Motrin before I get back surgery. That's a tough thing to do, especially guys in that business with the way it is. I mean, you know. The dog has a question.
Dog has a question.
Hey, Peter. Yes. I got a good one for you. You know why your dog's barking? Tampa Bay Rays at your door. He needs a place to stay because he doesn't have a home.
That's bad, Ralph. That is very bad.
He's looking for a shoe to piss in.
You shut up and be quiet.
This guy sucks.
All right, Ralph, go ahead and comment. Check out comments here. Hold on. Matt Riddle, WrestleMania suspension. Sabrina says Alexander. Yes, he's on the screen right now. And McKee Thomas says Alexander wants to book.
Oh, yeah.
Alexander's looking for a shoe to piss in. I can't stop laughing.
He's gonna piss on Tampa Bay Rays leg.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, he's gonna piss right in the room right now. He's gonna piss during the show. I know it's happening. So I'll tell you a story really quick. One time I had a Cajun turkey and cheese sandwich. I decided to leave it out. Now, never leave out.
I know where this is going.
Okay, now he decided to take it. Now we moved into a new place in Palm Harbor with two other roommates, so we were already kind of walking on eggshells. We were lucky to get the place we got. Well, we got the place. Of course, he eats the sandwich. He decides to run around after he ate the sandwich. He's running around like a crackhead, like he got into something he shouldn't have got into. I was laughing the whole time because I knew what was going to happen. Goes out to the porch and that's what he does. So I better hurry up on this. I tell you what, we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. He's going right by me.
It reminds me of the time before I got married. I was dating a lady that had two sheepdogs, and I picked her up on a date, and I was wearing white. And she says, "Here, come and meet my dogs." They came in from the mud, and my whole wardrobe, which ended up to be brown.
It's terrible because, and I laugh about this now, but it was like my dog was thinking, my former ex-landlord comes up and he goes, "Look, Pete, you got to leave, but this is not the guy Palm. This is Palm Harbor." My landlord comes up and goes, we got to move. Of course, we got Harry the Greek calling. Of course we do.
He just got done with Chicago Bear workouts.
Oh my God, Harry the Greek! Welcome to the Evolution.
Hey, he was on my show last night. He was on my show.
Will you shut up and be quiet, Harry? Go ahead.
Man, I want to get involved in all this wrestling talk.
Well, I thought you would. I knew you would call in there. Why are you calling in? You hate wrestling.
I love wrestling now. I mean, I Mancini, Mark, he's got me interested.
Mancini, Mark.
Superman, Rolf,
How about Roger Shoe?
Italian Stallion and the Irish guy.
Just shut up. And
shut up!
All right, Terry.
And the little Pete.
Oh, I got your little Pete. And here comes Alexander again, guys.
There he is.
Harry, what do you got to say? Because I think my dog wants to go out, and he's trying to invade the show right now.
Well, I told Alexander to lift his right leg up and do his business on you, right where you're sitting.
No, I tell you right now, I got this for you right there. Now to finish the
Good
story, because
boy.
I'm glad, Harry, that you're on the phone, because the former
Oh
landlord,
man.
the former landlord comes up and goes, "I'm sorry, you and Alexander are going to have to leave." Now I'm talking to our landlord. Listen, a landlord, and you know this story here. I think I've told you this. He comes at 9:00 in the morning, which is the worst possible thing you could do on a Saturday, because I usually don't work. That's my sleep in day. So I come out. He tells me the news, and for some reason, my dog is like listening. He decides to take a piss on this guy's leg. Now at the time. But then I was like, oh, I get it. I understand. You know you were leaving, so you decided to take a piss. So, okay.
Yep.
Oh.
Hey, don't tell me to leave. I'll leave when I want.
Oh
No,
man.
My dog is the greatest
Oh,
dog.
you know what? After the trip I had to Youngstown, it made me feel better with all this.
Well, listen, the world of wrestling right now, we got WrestleMania. You're going to have to watch it with me. We're going to have to get you involved in it. We're going to have a WrestleMania recap with all four of us. How about that, Harry?
Perfect.
And I'll buy you dinner too if you sit around and watch wrestling with me. How about that?
I'm eating your pizza.
What? Hungry Howie's Pizza? What do you have to say? Why do you always choose violence with me? You continue to choose violence on this show. Stop saying
I want to ask you something, Harry. A good friend of mine does in Chicago, and Peter might know him too, along with Ralph. Do you know Steve Dolinsky, the pizza expert out there?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's got a pizza fest coming out here in LA the end of April. I might have to take some. Yeah, he does these things in every city or something. So I might have to take pictures of all these pizzas that they've.
He goes around and he rates the pizzas.
Yes.
Yeah, he's like a YouTube sensation.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We need to be YouTube sensations. Hopefully,
speaking of pizza, Joey Chestnut was involved in a pizza eating contest that he won.
All going to get to the promised land.
Will you shut up and be quiet, Harry? Go ahead, Ralph.
I said Joey Chestnut was in a pizza contest recently, and he won. He ate the most pizza.
Oh, shocking! There, you need like 73 hot dogs. I think you could definitely get some slices out.
Every time you see there's another call, I think Roger's calling us from his rotary phone.
He probably is calling. All right, Harry. Thanks a lot for the call.
No, he rubs some
I love you, Harry.
Hey, Harry.
We love you too, guys.
See you, Harry.
All right, see you. There you go. Good stuff there. Guys, let's wrap it up. My dog's ready to go. I'll read this last comment here to get off. Folks, that's real live streaming. Everyone pray for Alex to make it out in time, please. On that note, Mark Mancini, go ahead and promote yourself.
Oh, I love you on Wednesdays, man. I love this fatal four-way with Harry now involved. Bring out some more ladders from Home Depot. XM Series 203, 217. Philadelphia's WWDB AM 860 with Ralph tomorrow across the podcast countries. And I start the third year in a row with the Pittsburgh Pirates next Friday. I love you, boys.
Congratulations, man.
Let's give ESPN a run for their money, boys.
Yeah,
that's right.
You go. The madman himself, Mark Mancini. Thanks a lot for your time right there. Ralph, go ahead and promote yourself here on The Evolution.
Ralph Williams 737 at gmail.com. I'm on Facebook. I'm no longer on Wimpkin. I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter. Also, you can catch my archive shows of everything that I do, along with my co-host Smoking Jim Frazier, on our YouTube channel. I'm up to 92 subscribers. I need 8 more to make 100. And don't forget my 2 shows. I have 2 shows now on Blog Talk Radio tomorrow night, Thursday, with Mark Mancini. And Mark and I are doing a show on Friday at 5 Eastern Time called The External Bum Podcast.
Oh, nice. All right. Good stuff there, Mr. Ralph Williams. Thanks a lot for your time here on The Evolution. All right, my friend?
Have a good one, Peter. Thank you, man.
Later. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks a lot to all the guests, the legend himself, Mr. Leo Haggerty, of course, the madman himself, Mr. Mark Mancini, of course, Ralph Williams, Charles Richardson, all the calls. I got to run. Like and subscribe to the Sports Web on YouTube. Like I Love St. Pete, The Hub, and Amped Up Sports. And do 3 things for me. And yes, I'm going to take out my dog right now as the show ends. Bring your passion, bring your excitement. Just don't bring any nonsense. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And in this case, it's Alex's time. Have a great night.